Okay, my dudes, we're live, and you know exactly what we're doing right now. Okay, so for whatever reason, if maybe you're watching this and you're going, okay, what's going on? What am I in for? First off, no idea how it took you this long to find the channel. Second off, we are live drafting real money fantasy football drafts every single night leading up until the 2021 fantasy football season. So I encourage you, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you can come out, you can participate in these live drafts. Now, I understand a lot of y'all are going to go, Mason, why am I going to subscribe? You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And I got some good news for you, if that's your opinion. I got some great news for you, if that's your opinion. You can prove that you are better at me than fantasy football because these drafts, they're filled from the live chat. So if you want to get in a draft on the stream, prove that you are better than me. If you want to get in the draft in the stream, support the channel, just make sure you're subscribing. Yeah, we're going to get this going right now. Let me send out that first link. We're going to send the first link on Patreon. Then all the other links we're going to send for tonight's drafts are going to be over there in the YouTube live chat. So we got a lot going on. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. Okay, my God. I just now realized that the volume was too low. Oh, God, that is going to kill us in this video. Literally, that is going to kill us. This video is going to be, oh my gosh. Of course, guys. Of course that happened. But anyway, let's get this going right now. And let's see where we are going to be drafting. Let's pull this up. And let me just go through and we get the 102. Okay, we get the 102 here, which kind of sucks because this is the $5 league. We're going to do higher stakes leagues later tonight. So I love getting Dalvin Cook. I love being able to complete this build. But at the same time, I would rather do this with a $50 draft. I'd rather do this with a $100 draft. And guys, because I went out there and I just completely butchered this video and by rambling for about 45 seconds before checking the audio, make sure you go down there and drop a like, because if this stream doesn't have a ridiculous amount of likes on it, YouTube's killing this video. It's going to have nothing to go with it. But oh my God, that's just embarrassing, to be completely honest. And what we were saying at the beginning of the live stream, guys, is we are streaming every single night fantasy football drafts leading up until the season. So if you have yet to hit that subscribe button, if you have yet to hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you know when we are live, what are you doing? And look at how much of a fantasy genius I am, guys. The most difficult decision in fantasy ever, going to be at either the 101, the 102. Who do I go with? Oh, I'm going to be so torn here because nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows that you should be drafting Dalvin Cook at the 102. Of course, everybody knows that, my dudes. I'm just making a joke here. Dalvin Cook at the 102, going to be an easy selection. And yeah, Underdog definitely switched up their draft platform, it looks like, today. Obviously, the majority of it's the same. Looks like cosmetically, though, they're changing a little. Looks like we got a little more color to the draft board, which should be interesting. Ryan says, did they change the website? Yes, sir. It looks like it. Jeremy says, Mason the contacts. Oh my God, guys. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know how big a pain in the ass those contacts were this morning. Okay, Zeke goes at the 104. Ezekiel Elliott continuing to rise. Guys, if you didn't know, if you weren't drafting on Underdog about a month or two ago, Ezekiel Elliott, surprisingly, was a running back going at the end of the first. And he has slowly but surely continue to work his way up here. Devontae Adams falls all the way to the 106. Love that value that you're getting with Devontae Adams there. Actually just recorded a video for our top 6 wide receiver rankings. So, you know, I had to go a little bit in depth on Adams. We got Tyreek Hill going at the 107. James says the website looks much better in my opinion. Okay, good. I'm glad that y'all like the improvements to the website, because that means if Underdog's getting improved, the flock is getting improved. That is fantastic. Okay, so now let me go through, send out the message. And guys, I know a lot of y'all have heard this about 1,000,000 times, but I have to continue to say it because it's the craziest thing that has ever happened. So Underdog Fantasy, while they have changed a little bit cosmetically, where it looks like they added a little more color to the player draft picks, which I definitely agree with y'all. I do like. What I found out that they did not change is this damn hack that they have in the system. And it's kind of the craziest thing ever. I really would assume that they kind of found out about this glitch, found out about this hack, and they patched it right away. But there's this hack in the system that if you use promo code FLOCK when you deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy, the best place to become a better fantasy football drafter in 2021. If you use promo code FLOCK when you deposit $10, they are giving you $25 on top of that. And if that wasn't crazy enough, somehow there's a glitch in the system that if you shoot me a DM and tell me that you did that, you're getting our 2021 draft guide, hundreds of pages of information. You're getting our 2021 rankings, all for a $10 deposit on Underdog, where you should be playing to begin with. So make sure you get in a draft with me before the end of the season. Make sure you get paid that $25. It's literally free money there for the taking. And make sure you get our 2021 draft guide, which I'd make an argument worth $75, $80. All it takes you is a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy, where you're getting paid $25 to do it. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds too good to be true, and that's why I'm not shutting up about it. But let's go back to this board, and let's look at Derrick Henry at the 108. Now, y'all know I am fully aboard the Derrick Henry. I don't want to say the exact opposite of a hype train. I am on the Derrick Henry hate train. And I know a lot of people are going to go, Mason, that's preposterous. Derrick Henry, a lock for 2,000 rushing yards this year. And I'll say, hey, I mean, if Derrick Henry gets 2,000 rushing yards, even when he pulls off 2,000 rushing yards, he still does not have the same type of ceiling from a fantasy football perspective as the other running backs at the top of the draft do, with the amount of targets that they are going to get out of the backfield. Because a big thing that people don't understand is when you play fantasy football, you are trying to get these fake points. Now, Derrick Henry at the 108, I am completely fine with that value. I think that we are 100% fine having Derrick Henry. He just has to go off the board after Alvin Kamara. He has to go off the board after Devontae Adams. If you're taking him before Kamara, if you're taking Derrick Henry at the 103, we're going to have problems. The risk is just too high with this being a 27-year-old running back, the oldest running back by far out of all these guys in this range. And at the same time, coming off of 2 seasons in which he totaled over 800 touches, Derrick Henry at the 108, a fair price. Derrick Henry at the 103, a very bad price. Chris says, is this a money draft? Yes, sir. This is a money draft. Every single draft that we do on the channel is a money draft. You're not going to see any mock drafts here. Every single draft has a buy-in, because if you're doing a mock draft, if you're drafting against a computer, you're wasting your time, my friend. You're wasting your time. No real drafts are going to go like that. Okay, so let's get this up. Let's look at where we are going to be going now. So we started off Dalvin Cook. So, when you go Dalvin Cook, you get the luxury of really being able to push the turn here. Najee Harris goes. Najee Harris probably would have been a running back that we would have taken if he fell to us at the 211. We would have gone running back, then receiver. But now it's clearly we're going running back and at least a receiver here. Maybe we consider George Kittle at the 302. But let's just see whatever wide receiver is going to fall to us. So Metcalf goes. So, yeah, we have a very easy selection of A.J. Brown. I know that CeeDee Lamb continues to rise in these drafts. I mean, you're finding that CeeDee Lamb sometimes going over an A.J. Brown. But personally, I can't do it. I still have A.J. Brown over CeeDee Lamb. And I'm telling you, when Hard Knocks comes, Hard Knocks is going to continue to rise that CeeDee Lamb draft price, where I think he is going to consistently go in this range of a Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. Personally, I think I have him closer to Keenan Allen, but that's just me. Okay. So Brian says, love Barkley and Chubb at the turn. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting Barkley at the 1-2 turn, that is ridiculous. Saquon Barkley is my 104 this year. I mean, I think people are really forgetting the kind of running back that Saquon Barkley is. Okay, so now that George Kittle goes, I think that we actually start this draft off with the wide receiver that we were just talking about in CeeDee Lamb. Like we said, we think he's going to continue to rise in these drafts through, wrong button there, Mason. Through his appearance at Hard Knocks, especially if Amari Cooper is going to be injured. And at the same time, we're doing 200, 250 of these real money drafts by the time we get to the season. So we got to make sure we're diversifying if we can. And at the same time, we think CeeDee Lamb is going to continue to rise in his draft price. So getting him there at the 302 is going to make some sense. Get DeAndre Swift going off the board at the 302. And this is one thing that I really like about having a CMC, a Dalvin Cook build, is that you really aren't going to be pressured to draft any running backs at all in this range. Where sometimes if we go with the Devontae Adams, if we go with the Travis Kelce, all of a sudden we kind of find that we need to reach on a player like Miles Sanders. We need to reach on a player like a J.K. Dobbins. But no, if you get that anchor running back, you can confidently build up your other positions, knowing that you already have a baseline level of production that you can expect from that running back position, as well as having that elite ceiling. Okay, guys, if we have not gotten over 100 likes by now, are we even in a Fantasy Flock live stream? What is going on? Get this stream over 100 likes. Who else is streaming every single night, day in and day out? We ruined the audio at the beginning of this live stream at the same time where I was rambling on and not talking about anything. Let me go through, and instead what we'll probably have to do after this live stream is maybe I can edit out the beginning. That way it doesn't ruin the video. Hopefully it doesn't ruin the video. I know if you're coming in now, obviously you have no idea what I'm talking about, but at the beginning of the live stream, where we know that the live stream turns to a video after, that's how a lot of people find the channels with those videos. Well, I think the stream got ruined, boys. It's all my fault too. Casey says, yo, Mason, saw your heartfelt video in the Discord. Been with you for a year now. Congrats on all the success. This is just the beginning. My man, thank you so much. And yeah, guys, if y'all didn't see the video, I put it on Patreon, I put it on Discord. I didn't post it on YouTube because I didn't want a bunch of random people to be watching it. Well, technically it's on YouTube, but I did it unlisted, so you can only see it through a link. But I went back, and since we drastically upgraded our setup, I just wanted to watch some of the old videos that we had on the channel. Now, y'all can't see them because they're all unlisted. But, I mean, y'all saw it if y'all are in the Discord chat. Y'all saw where we came from. It's only going to get better from here, my dudes. I mean, the support that y'all show on these videos by coming out to these streams, by dropping likes, I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, but now let's get back to the draft. What's interesting here is Scantron, a new member of the flock over there on Patreon. And by the way, guys, everybody in here is on Patreon. This was where the link was sent out. But anyway, he goes Darren Waller without really giving much consideration, I guess, to getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think it would have been very intriguing if you want to go with that Kansas City stack, and you know you can get Mahomes at the 307 100% of the time. Nobody's taking Mahomes before you. If you want to get that stack, might as well take Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the second as well, because now you're going to be put in a very difficult spot at running back. Let's see Senior Skittles. Okay, so he actually has 3 running backs coming out of the first 4 rounds. It's going to be a team to monitor. Al Johnson gets Josh Allen at the 403. So it looks like quarterbacks are going a little bit earlier in these drafts than usual. Miles says, will you be looking at all the DMs after this? Yes, sir. Like I said, guys, if y'all used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you get our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. All you have to do is once you use promo code FLOCK and you get your $25 bonus by Underdog, is shoot me a DM on either Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Discord. All the links are in the description of the video. And just tell me, hey, Mason, listen up here, you bum. I need the draft guide. I used your promo code. Here's my email address so you can go confirm. And my reply will be, yes, sir, thank you. And I'll go and run that and get it to you as fast as I can. Okay, Robert says, you're killing it, bro. I have never paid money for a site. I don't agree with half of the views from the other streamers on YouTube, but after 20 years in fantasy football, you got me, dog. To the moon, Batman. My man, thank you so much for supporting the channel, of course. I mean, this audience is ridiculous. It's unlike anything you're ever going to find, to be honest. I had a moment about it earlier today, but let's go back to this draft. Let's focus in here on this draft where we have a very flexible spot at the end of the 4th round where we can go with a favorite wide receiver of ours. If he does fall, we can go with a running back. I mean, y'all know there are a few running backs that I like in this range just because I think that they have fallen a little too far. There were guys... DJ Moore goes. F me. Okay, so DJ Moore goes. Do we get a Jamar Chase here as our wide receiver 3? If we are going to draft a Jamar Chase, I actually do prefer to have him. You know what? We're not going to get Chase. We're going to get Travis Etienne. I'm not going to go that far off the range. I'm still getting the guy that I prefer. We're going to get Travis Etienne here as our running back 2. So our team so far is Dalvin Cook, Travis Etienne at running back. At receiver, we have A.J. Brown and C.D. Lamb. Okay. Senior Skittle says, I've got the 12th pick in this draft. You're going down, Mason. My man, I'm excited to see what your team looks like at the end. Okay, so Ryan is up here with back-to-back picks. So he took Kittle, he has CMC, and also he has Justin Jefferson as well. So let's see where he decides to go. He goes Jamar Chase. Okay, Jamar Chase was the other player that we were considering. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be screaming for one player in particular when we're going to be up on the clock yet again. I think that we're actually going to pass on him, as I think that, in my opinion, he's an overrated asset. I probably won't be drafting him. Okay, he goes Darrell Henderson. Okay, so now we get Josh Jacobs. And a big thing is, guys, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, the reason why I am actually saying that it's by far and away the best thing that you can do to prepare for this upcoming season with the drafts that you are in is I'm not telling you to deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy, get the $25 bonus, and then stop playing with your friends. No, of course Of course, the best way to always play fantasy football will be with your friends where you have access to the waiver wire. You're going and making those start-sit decisions every single week. But what Underdog Fantasy is so special with is that they are a best ball platform. And what that means is you'll play in a real money league like this one is, but you don't have the waiver. You don't have start-sit decisions. So what that allows you to do, just say if you go use promo code FLOCK, deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy, you get that $25 bonus added onto your account. Then you have $35 into your account for $10. You can use that, go win money in fantasy drafts. And you can go through and they do $3 drafts, $5 drafts, $25 drafts. I would recommend doing the $3 drafts at least to start. You can hop into real money drafts where nobody's going to be timing out. You're going to be drafting against real people. And what is great is you can get 10 of those in if you're doing $3 drafts. So you're going to be able to crush your league mates in your real draft. And at the same time, you are in 10 real fantasy leagues, but it's draft it and forget it. You can check on it in the middle of the season if you would like, but we're going to be able to do 200 drafts like this. So I can guarantee you at the end of this month, there's not going to be a single person better at drafting than we are. I mean, this audience has been getting so much better at drafting every single night. You see this by this draft. How many off-the-wall picks have we seen here? So Kyle Pitts goes at the 508. You got some wide receivers going in this range. Lamar and Kyler Murray. It is interesting to see quarterbacks are still sliding up this room compared to what we usually see. But given the fact that this is a best ball format, I really like the idea of going a little bit running back heavy at the start. That way we can go through and get those guaranteed touches locked into our starting lineup. And then later on, we can use extra roster spots on wide receiver and try to capture those spike weeks. So really understanding your format's also going to be important. Pedro says, what time do you usually go live? I want to tune in more. My man, so we initially were planning on going live at 8 p.m. every night. But a big problem is now that I'm on the East Coast, 8 p.m. is literally like 5 p.m. for the people in California. So just going through and going, okay, well, we kind of got to push it back. So I think we started at 8 p.m. every night. I'm probably going to change the schedule to where we're going live at about 9 p.m. every night. You know what we can do? Instead, we can move this over here. So yeah, we're probably going to be going live around 9 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to continue to push it back because I want more and more people to be able to get off work, more and more people to be able to get in these drafts. So let me know what y'all are thinking. Would y'all prefer 8 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m.? I've been pushing it back, trying to get closer to 8:30. Like we kicked this one off closer to 8:30. But let me know what y'all are thinking. It's going to be sometimes in that range. I'll guarantee you that if you're watching this as a video a week from now, or you're watching this right now and you're wondering, oh, okay, next Saturday, is Mason going to be live? What time is he going to be live? Literally, if it's in the nighttime, go to the Fantasy Flock Network. We will be live drafting. I am not missing a single day. I don't care what happens to me. I don't care. If something catastrophic happens, which I'm praying to God it doesn't, hopefully I just didn't jinx myself, we'll be streaming and we'll be drafting from the hospital. You are not getting me away from this stream until the football season. I promise you that. It's too much fun. It's too good for the channel. We are live streaming every single night. Okay, so people are telling me they want 8:30. Make us an Eastern time superior. Keep it at 8. Guys, I know that everybody out in the chat right now is probably on Eastern time because we're a little bit earlier. So it was probably a bad idea to ask the chat right now because obviously y'all are the people who can make it out. Maybe I'll have to ask in an hour and see. Omar says, like the live stream. Yes, sir. If you are sitting in this live stream and you have yet to drop a like, I don't know what is wrong with you. You probably need to get checked into an institution or something because watching this live stream without dropping a like on it and showing some respect and showing some support for the channel sounds like the craziest thing I've ever heard. Okay, so Cortland Sutton goes. So we started this team off with 3 running backs in Dalvin Cook, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, 2 wide receivers in A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. I think we do want to be coming away with another wide receiver here, given the fact that I am a massive, massive fan of Laviska Shenault. This pick is going to be really easy as our wide receiver 3, as someone that I do believe has an every down role for Jacksonville, combined with the fact that he is getting a massive quarterback upgrade in Trevor Lawrence. We know that he has the size, speed, athleticism. No, you're not going to see it as NFL testing numbers at the combine because he did have a groin injury in the 2020 combine. So please don't be looking at those. I promise you, this is someone that is an athletic freak. NRG says, hey, Mason, glad I told you to order those contacts last night. I would like to make a suggestion for the live stream. Maybe have a little more in the overlay saying what the cost you're doing is. Yes, we actually had that suggestion last night as well, my man. And I 100% need to add that. As soon as I have time, I'm going to be going through and adding stuff like that. But I'll tell you guys, my schedule is very, very busy. Okay, so Gallup, Juju go off the board. So this is a perfect conversation point that for someone that may be new to best ball drafts. So here in a regular league, I'm looking at Michael Thomas and I'm going, okay, Michael Thomas is a massive value. We're going to go and we're going to draft Michael Thomas. Whereas a league like this, that is best ball, it's a little bit different because when you're drafting a Michael Thomas in a regular format, a reason that Michael Thomas is so valuable is that's a wide receiver that you actually have the potential to go through and play during the fantasy football playoffs, and his points are going to matter significantly more in weeks 15, 16, and 17 for you than they would in weeks 1, 2, or 3 where he's going to be missing. Now, this is best ball, so how they do it is you don't have a fantasy football playoffs. Like I said, this is kind of, you draft it, you forget it. You're still going to be doing your other leagues with your friends, but this is to make you better than your friends at those other leagues. And at the same time, there's nothing more fun than drafting a fantasy football team and proving that you're better than other people. But beyond that, what's going to be great is you are not going to have the randomness of a fantasy football playoff. Just the overall total points that your starting lineup scores week in and week out are going to be added up. And then you're going to have that leaderboard as the season goes on. So points in week 1, 2, 3, 4, they're going to be just as valuable as points in weeks 14, 15, 16, 17. So when a Michael Thomas is going to miss that significant period of time, you actually have to drop Michael Thomas down further in a best ball draft than you would in a regular league. And we just passed 200 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much, my dude. Miles says, hey, Mason, can you tell me what a subscribe button is again? My man, to be completely honest, I haven't quite figured out what the subscribe button is. I know YouTube just added it to their system. I've been trying to test things out. I've been trying to figure out what the subscribe button does. Now, I see that we have 28,000 of them. I don't know if that means anything. And I'm actually going to put the chat to subscriber only chat right now because this is way too much to keep up with. I was told that what the subscribe button does, specifically for this channel at least, is if you hit it, you just become a way better fantasy football player over time. And I heard that if you want to exemplify the difference that you're seeing in getting better at fantasy football, if you actually hit the bell next to the subscribe button, it's even better. So my man, I truly don't know what that button does. All I know is it makes you better at fantasy football. That's really all I know about it. Okay, so Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, and David says, Mason, what are the stakes of this draft? Okay, guys, let me go through and let me remind everybody. So to start out every single live stream, we do a $5 draft to get that warm up going, to make sure everything's set up with stream, to make sure that I can kind of get in the groove here. And then after that, that's when we'll get the $50. That's when we'll get the $100 draft going after the initial $5 draft. We're going to get another $5 draft going yet again, so don't worry too much about that. But yeah, right now, this is just going to be a $5 one. Okay, so Justin Herbert at the 7-12. Okay, so let me go through and let's kind of look at this draft board. For anybody who's coming in to the draft right now, let's go through. Let's see if we can find any intriguing teams so far, just having completely wild builds. And here we're actually going to be looking at the team with the 105 because this team decided to go Kelsey in the first. Kelsey in the first in a format like this is honestly, he's going to be much higher in my rankings on Underdog than he would be in my rankings for a traditional fantasy football format. But here, he's actually going at the 105. You're only going to have to roster 2 tight ends. When you take Travis Kelsey, you can wait until one of the last rounds and you can get someone like Jared Cook if you want. And then you get at running back, Jonathan Taylor at the 208. I currently have Jonathan Taylor ranked as our 207 if you check out our fantasy football rankings. So I do like that Jonathan Taylor value. And then wide receiver, and some more wide receiver. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see what he can get at running back later on in the draft. There are a few intriguing names that fell. Like, I really don't agree with this team taking a Mike Williams over a Chase Edmonds. I think that you honestly have to go Edmonds over Mike Williams when you draft four wide receivers in a row here and your only running back is a Jonathan Taylor. I do agree that the wide receivers in this range, they were all fantastic values. And I think you want to be taking these wide receivers. I mean, I'm not taking a Trey Sermon over a Kenny Golladay. I'm not taking a player like Adam Thielen over Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry, I'm not taking Kareem Hunt over Adam Thielen. Y'all know what I mean. I'm taking the wide receivers there. But once we get to the point in the 7th round, I think maybe you're just being a little cute in drafting Mike Williams over Chase Edmonds on this build. I think we definitely prefer having Edmonds there. And now if we go through, look at some other intriguing teams. Honestly, there are no other teams that stand out to me as being very unbalanced. There are a lot of teams that have soaked up a lot of running backs already, which is intriguing. But here, let me go back to this decision to draft Mike Williams over Chase Edmonds. And y'all know if y'all watch this channel often, actually, we'll talk about that in 1 second. Let's get up on the board real quick. But y'all know if y'all watch this channel often, that the number one thing that I do that I know most people don't is every single draft, I just try to look at what's wrong. I look at what we think teams, including myself, because I get a ton of things wrong every single draft, what we can do to improve for the next one. Because if you can identify what you can do to improve for the next one, I think you're going to be in a really good spot and just continuing to become a better drafter throughout the entire process. So now when we are going to be on the clock again, I think we are going to be getting our wide receiver 5 here because there are a few running backs that'll be fine making it back to us in the next round. So the thing is, when do we eventually catch the falling knife into Michael Thomas? Because in a regular format, Michael Thomas would have gone way before this. But I think this will be our, honestly, first time drafting. Actually, yeah, we're going to draft Michael Thomas. It's our first time drafting him. We're going to get him at the 8-11. Not in love with the value given the format. I know a lot of people are going to be saying that's a really good pick, but trust me, guys, it's not as good as it seems. And at the 902, we're going to have the flexibility where if we wanted to go QB, I don't necessarily think that we're that excited about a Tom Brady or a Jalen Hurts. Y'all know a big thing on how I play fantasy is I want to make sure we're continuing to find those natural stacks sliding in at good values. We don't want to be reaching for our quarterback stacks, but we want to just have it in the back of our minds, the guys that should be going in a certain range and where we are going to be trying to pivot with our wide receivers for our quarterback targets. So in this range, not interested in a Brady, not interested in a Hurts. So I think we're probably either going to be going with a running back or a receiver. So A.J. Dillon goes here, which kind of sucks. And with A.J. Dillon going, personally, I'm going to be going with most likely a Ronald Jones. I just kind of want to talk through this real quick. But yeah, we're going to go with the Ronald Jones as our 4th running back. So James Robinson is intriguing, and you're going to see me take James Robinson over Ronald Jones in some other leagues. But a big thing is we actually already drafted Travis Etienne at the end of the 4th round. So if we draft Travis Etienne at the end of the 4th round, we can't necessarily take a James Robinson over a Ronald Jones because we're assuming that when we go through and build out the rest of this team, that we're having to operate as if we got that pick in Travis Etienne correct. Because if we start hedging our bets, well, yes, it will raise our floor, it will lower our ceiling, and that's not what we're looking to do. I'm not looking to get 6th in this league. I'm looking to win it. So yeah, we're going to take Ronald Jones and his guaranteed touches at the 902. This is a half PPR format, not a full PPR, so it's going to slide Ronald Jones up slightly in our rankings. And I think getting Rojo as our 4th running back here, we are now done at the running back position. Now we can just hammer in wide receivers. We can potentially draft both 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends if we think that we need to. Max says, are you ever doing a 1 quarterback dynasty draft? My man, if you go over to our dynasty channel, we already have a 1 quarterback dynasty draft up there, my man. And also, we are about to pass 250 likes on the live stream. That is massive. Okay, but let me go back real quick and let's discuss again this Chase Edmonds selection. Now, I know I'm annoying y'all, but how I really like to go back and look at draft picks in terms of trying to find what position you want to go with in a certain round is looking at 2v2s on if you would have passed on him and you would have drafted this player instead, what would have happened in the following round? So here we see you actually get Mike Williams here in the 7th round, and you get Raheem Mostert in the 8th. So my hypothesis that you actually had Chase Edmonds as a much better value in the 7th round over Mike Williams, how would that have played out if then in the 8th round you're able to pivot over and go with the receiver? So I think if we actually look at this, if you would have, instead of drafting a Mike Williams here, you took a Chase Edmonds, you could have been looking at your choice of receivers of a Rashad Bateman, a Jalen Waddle, a Michael Thomas, or a Jarvis Landry. And I think this grouping of wide receivers is a lot closer to Mike Williams than what you have with Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. So personally, I think that's a big reason why I would prefer to go through and actually get the running back there in Chase Edmonds and get a wide receiver value in the next round. And if we're going through, and a big thing is people have just gotten so much better at drafting in these drafts where it's a lot harder for me to go through and try to nitpick and say things that I would prefer to do in other areas. It is interesting. Running backs definitely going higher in this draft than they usually go, at least in these underdog leagues. Ted says, how do we get in a live draft with you? My man, okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to sign up for Underdog Fantasy. I'm sure everybody knows that when you sign up with Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you get our 2021 draft guide, you get our 2021 rankings, you get $25 added on to your account with a $10 deposit. So first you need to go through and do that, because Underdog, since they're giving you $25 to sign up with promo code FLOCK, you have to get your identity verified to make sure that you're not just creating a bunch of spam accounts, then taking a bunch of $25 from them at the time, because it's $25 per person. It's not going to be $25 per how many accounts you make. So understanding that, they have to make sure that you're a real person so they can give you that $25. That usually takes about 3 or 4 minutes for them to verify that you're a real person. I've heard some people say it doesn't even take them that long. It took me about 4 or 5 minutes. So yeah, make sure you sign up for Underdog Fantasy right now. And then when we get our next draft going, you will see the link in the live chat. We'll take a vote on what the buy-in for the league is going to be. If it's a $5, a $50, or a $100 league, y'all will vote on that in the chat, and then we'll get that set up. Okay, so now let's pull up the draft board, see where we are going to be going with this next one. Okay, so we have a very balanced start. We have 4 running backs in Dalvin Cook, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Rojo, and then a receiver. We have A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Laviska Shenault, Tyler Boyd. So we are not going to be looking at running back here. We are done drafting running backs in this league. So now we have to pivot over. We're going to be looking at QB, wide receiver, and tight end. We are now on the clock. Obviously, Michael Pittman, a massive faller with the Carson Wentz injury to go along with this. You actually have that Quentin Nelson injury. Maybe Michael Pittman doesn't have the time to get down the field. I hated Michael Pittman before the Carson Wentz injury. I was calling him one of the most overrated players in fantasy just a few weeks ago. He's fallen to a point now where I think you could actually consider him. Personally, I'm still going to be going with a Henry Ruggs, especially in a league like this where you don't have to know when you're going to start Henry Ruggs, and instead he'll just slide into your starting lineup whenever he has a spike week. So we are going to be going with Ruggs there, and then we're going to hope that a player that we like makes it back to us at the 11:02. Okay, so Joe Burrow goes at the 10-12 and Jalen Hurts. Okay, thank God. I was just praying that we were going to get Trevor Lawrence. Guys, let's go back to what I was saying earlier about stacking. Okay, so yes, we are looking to stack our players through our draft. Getting the correlation in our starting lineup is a very good thing in raising our ceiling. But you're not looking to go out there and reach on your stacks, because if you're reaching on your stacks, at that point, you're kind of giving up any advantage that you had from a ceiling perspective. So we go through, we look at this draft board, we go, okay, well, we kind of already made a bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars offense with the Travis Etienne here at the 411. And we also took a Laviska Shenault at the 611. So with those 2 picks, I think if we want to see both of them pan out, you're going to end up having to make Trevor Lawrence pan out anyway. So it makes a lot of sense to go through and grab Trevor Lawrence here at the 11:02 at a great value, which I think that we did. I potentially considered taking Joe Burrow over Henry Ruggs, which I think in a different scenario we would have done. But a big thing is the team behind us in Ryan had no starting quarterbacks, so you had to worry about him doubling up. And if we went with Joe Burrow, we were going to miss out on the stack into Trevor Lawrence, because if he was going to double up, then he was going to go Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. So I think it played out a little nicer for us to just get another wide receiver and then get Lawrence with that next pick. Lost Camp says, got me that double stack again tonight. San Fran and the Baltimore Ravens, boom or bust drafting. Okay, so let's go through and let's check out Lost Camp's draft from here. So if we go up, he's at the 104. He got Lamar at the 504, and you got Bateman at the 809. Okay, this is another example of not having to reach on your stack, where you're getting Lamar and Bateman at reasonable prices. And then we're going through, we're looking at the 49ers stack where you took Trey Lance at the 904. This is just such an awkward stack to try to hunt with Trey Lance, because obviously Lance has a ton of upside. And you know, I am a massive fan of Trey Lance. We've been higher on Trey Lance than anybody for a very long time now. But the problem is you always have Kittle going in this range at the 2-3 turn. You have Brandon Ayuk going at the 4-5 turn. You also have Deebo Samuel. For whatever reason, they are always in this range of the draft, where if you look at a Trey Lance with where you expect him to go among the other quarterbacks, you would actually expect Trey Lance to go back here at the 9-10 turn on the wrong side. So if you're looking at that, I think that while Trey Lance, the stack in theory is one of the best stacks that you could potentially have in fantasy this year. The problem is, I think to complete it, it's a little harder, and you do end up having to reach on at least one piece, and that piece is usually Lance himself. But I agree, you also drafted Trey Sermon on that team. So you have 3 pieces of the 49ers offense. So at that point, you're so pot committed on the 49ers, you possibly have to go out of your way and get a Trey Lance. And I don't think he falls to you there at the 209, or it would have been very close if he did. So it's an intriguing draft pick. I don't necessarily think that we love it, but it's one of those spots where the stack kind of makes you reach. So I definitely want to make sure that we are looking at where the natural stacks tend to fall, and maybe those are the ones that we go out there and target. And y'all know I've been all about all offseason targeting that Jacksonville Jaguars stack, as we're expecting that team to get significantly better. Bub Frank says, I just signed up with Underdog and used promo code FLOCK. Thank you so much, my man. And guys, I know I've said this before, but not only are you getting the $25 sign-up bonus, not only are you also getting our 2021 draft guide and our 2021 rankings, but there is nothing, and I repeat, nothing that you could do that helps this channel more than going through and signing up for Underdog Fantasy, the first sponsor that we have ever had on this channel. And if we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, we are going to be doing a 24-hour live stream. And we are going to be flying multiple people out to Tampa, Florida to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with me. So I think that's more than enough excitement. And there's a more than enough reason. You're getting paid $25. You're getting my rankings. You're getting hundreds of pages of a draft guide. You're getting entered in a contest to go to Tampa, Florida, go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with me, go to the Florida Flock meetup. And it supports the channel. There's no reason not to go and take advantage, but now we are going to be 2 picks away, and we're in a spot that we are very excited about if we have a player we like falling to us. And no, he does not. Irv Smith goes a 1 pick before us, which definitely sucks. Gerald Everett goes as well. Okay, so we get sniped on both tight ends that we are looking at. That is horrendous here. So we have, if you look at our roster construction, 1 QB, 4 running backs. We're done at the running back position, though, because we have 4 guys. So now if we're pulling this up, possibly we go... We're going to go with the Jalen Reagor here. A big reason that we're going with Jalen Reagor is obviously you have the small chance that you actually have Deshaun Watson going over to Philadelphia, and then all of a sudden you see Reagor jump up 3 rounds in ADP. More so, I think that we wanted a receiver when we see that tier drop off at tight end in both Irv Smith and Gerald Everett. So Nyheim Hines goes there at the 212, which we love to see because, like I said, we don't even have running backs pulled up here because we can't draft a running back. Okay, so Ryan, let's see where he goes. And also, guys, if you have yet to drop a like on the live stream, make sure you drop a like. We have someone asking, are we going to do a $5 draft next? We're going to ask the chat what they want to do. And here we are going to get Evan Ingram. So I didn't want to say this out loud when we took Jalen Reagor, but big reason we took a receiver there is because if we looked at the team at the end, they actually had George Kittle. So we were going to be very confident that they weren't taking Evan Ingram away from us in the 13th round. So it was more so about looking at the team at the end like we did in the turn earlier where we went, okay, we have to take a receiver in the 10th round because they can easily double up on quarterback here. We said the same thing in the 12th round where we go, okay, we have to take a wide receiver here because we know they're most likely not going to take a tight end. So we still get the guy that we like in Irv Smith falling to us. So it would have been much, much better to get either an Irv Smith or a Gerald Everett in the 12th over a Reagor and then still getting Irv Smith in the 13th. But sometimes the draft doesn't fall your way. Okay, Drew says, Mason, your pick in the Flock 19 draft, DMing you as well. Okay, so it looks like we're on the clock in a dynasty draft. Drew, can you let me know how much longer I have on the clock in that draft? Because we're probably not going to be able to make that pick until after the live stream. PJ Frost says, the team next to us is looking really good. Okay, so let's go check out the team next to us. We'll check out a couple of the teams next to us. Okay, so let's check this team out here right now because it looks like they are very light on running back. So they went with Alvin Kamara in the first, Metcalf in the second, Swift in the third, and from there, DJ Moore, Kyler Murray, Cortland Sutton, Russell Wilson. So I understand you do get that Russell Wilson stack with the DK Metcalf, but I think when you go Kyler in the fifth, it's going to be very hard to fit 2 quarterbacks in the top 7 rounds on the same roster and still liking your construction. So I do want to see how this team ends up at the end. You definitely cannot take a 3rd quarterback after you do this, though. That's something, that is something you're locked into. Very similar to how we can't take another running back with the investment that we put into the position. So then you have Waddle, Rondell. Then you have 2 tight ends in Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett, a few more wide receivers. So I guess the receiver stack that you have is Rondell Moore, AJ Green, and also up at the top, You have Kyler Murray. Let me know what y'all think of that team, because I think it's very interesting to go out there and get 2 quarterbacks in that range back to back. I don't know if we necessarily say it's optimal, but still. Okay, Noam says, where do I put the promo code when I'm already signed in? Guys, to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, I'm very sorry, but you have to be a new user of Underdog Fantasy. You have to be a first-time depositor. Okay, so Sterling Shepard, T.Y. Hilton. Good thing we got a wide receiver at this turn. Cole Kmet going at the 1401. Good thing we got a tight end as well, because looks like it's about to get ugly at receiver. And we're probably going to end up going 3 QBs, 3 tight ends, 8 receivers, 4 running backs. But I love this build. And I'm excited to see the points projection, because I think the points projection for this team is just going to be crazy. Ryan says, thoughts on the 101 draft? I don't like how the board has fallen to me. Yes, sir. Let's pull this up real quick. Okay, so the 101, CMC, love it. Jefferson, Kittle, Chase, Henderson. I think the first 5 picks are very standard. From there, I agree. You possibly get stuck in like a dead zone when you're looking at this 6-7 turn. I think Laviska Shenault was actually really the last guy in this tier. I think going with the Gallup and a Juju's fine. Then Jarvis, A.J. Dillon, fine with that as well. Was that your 3rd running back? You could have gone with a Rojo over Jarvis, and you could have got 4 running backs and then been done with it. I don't necessarily want to say that's optimal, but at least possibly it was in consideration. Then you have, but you're also going to save a roster spot on tight end because you have Kittle. But the other running back spots, you got Naheem Hines as that last guy. Then Burrow, Jalen Hurts at value. I really like that team. I mean, I don't think that we really see that team and say we can change anything. Okay. So let's switch this over. Rashad Penny at the 1405. Kirk Cousins at the 1406. Bob says, Mason, why not Bryan Edwards instead of Rager? They're in the same tier for me right now. And when there's the small chance that Watson's going to go over and be the quarterback for Philadelphia, I think right now we possibly want to be drafting Jalen Rager if they're going to be in the same tier. Because just imagine what happens to the ADP of Jalen Rager if that Watson move ends up going through. And at the same time for Bryan Edwards, I don't necessarily think that there's anything in the range of outcomes that could increase his dynasty price that high in that small period. So I think that it's not a super exciting play, but we're going to go Rager. Trust me, I hated Rager coming out of TCU last year. I mean, y'all know if y'all are following the Dynasty channel, but I really hated Jalen Rager. Okay, so now here at the 14-11, we're, like I said, either going to be going QB, wide receiver, or tight end. I don't think we really have many options outside of that. Marquez Callaway goes. So, yeah, we're just going to go tight end. We are going to go with Anthony Firkser. Yes, you have to be a little less excited now that Julio Jones is coming over, because with Julio Jones, this is someone that you're going to be expecting to see a significant amount of targets in the offense, as well as having that. I know Julio historically hasn't had a red zone role, but I would imagine that possibly later on in his NFL career, he kind of transitions that way. And yeah, I guess we go back-to-back tight end. We already have a decent amount of receivers on this roster, so our tight end core is going to be set with those 3 guys so far. So yeah, we were taking Hunter Henry there. I definitely prefer having Jonnu Smith over Hunter Henry, but getting Henry at the 1502 is going to be fine. And also, guys, we are about to pass 300 likes on the live stream. If you have yet to drop a like on the live stream, please make sure you go down there and drop a like. Okay, Ryan says, can you do a draft with Patreon members? My man, this is a draft with Patreon members. After this, we're doing it with the YouTube chat. Yeah, so the first draft we do every night, guys, is with the people on Patreon. Then we are going through and doing all the other drafts with the YouTube chat. So it's a very nice balance where the people on Patreon, they get the guaranteed league to start the draft. And then from there, the YouTube chat, which I know has a lot more people than Patreon, then they go through and they get the majority of the rest of the drafts. I mean, usually we do, last time we did 5 drafts, guys. 5 drafts was like a 5-hour live stream. I mean, we are putting in a ridiculous amount of volume right now. So there are going to be a ton of drafts that you can join if you join Underdog Fantasy. Okay. So Jarwin goes at the 1507. So now really the only positions that we are looking at are going to be quarterback and receiver. So we definitely want to be seeing some tight ends, some running backs go off the draft board, just because we really don't have the roster flexibility once we already draft 3 tight ends in Evan Ingram, Anthony Firkser, and Hunter Henry. And we don't have the roster flexibility at running back when we go with a Dalvin Cook, a Travis Etienne, a Josh Jacobs, and a Ronald Jones. Zachary says, what's the goal for 4 to 5 drafts tonight? For us to hit 5 drafts tonight, it would have to be ridiculous. We would have to have an absurd amount of likes on the stream. I would assume that if we're going to do 5 drafts tonight, guys, 5 drafts is a 5-hour live stream. Y'all should have heard my voice after the last live stream. I'm surprised I woke up and I was able to talk. If we're going to do 5 drafts tonight, I think 1,100 likes on the live stream is the goal. 1,100 likes on the live stream is the goal for 5 drafts. The stream yesterday got 10,000 views. So I think that's like asking 10% of the people to go through and drop a like on the live stream. That's completely reasonable. So that will be the goal. I want to put it something ridiculous because I don't know how many nights in a row we can be doing 5-hour live streams. It's just brutal for literally my physical health. So we're going to do an 1,100 goal. If we had 1,100 likes on the live stream, we'll do 5 drafts. Okay. So Watson goes to the 1502 car. Okay, so quarterbacks continue to slide up the board. And like I said, guys, we need to be drafting 3 quarterbacks on this team. We didn't get one of those elite options. Maybe if we came away with the combination of like a Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, then we're done with 2 quarterbacks. But no, here when we go Trevor Lawrence and then we wait this long to even get our second QB, we're going to be at a spot where we have to invest 3 spots. Okay, so Jared Cook, Darrington Evans, Darius Slayton. Okay, so not many wide receivers going off the board. Usually you see more receivers drafted in this range as well. Sam says, just curious, how do likes affect your channel? To be completely honest, and I was literally talking to someone at the gym today about this, I am unsure. How I'm viewing it is I know they can't hurt. I know they can't hurt, and I know it shows me how many people are enjoying the content. So that's what I'm saying. I can't say for sure. Okay, Joe says, some of the Twitch streamers, I don't get how they can do 24-hour streams. Just not good for their mental health. I'll say it's a completely different stream if you're sitting there playing a video game and actively involved in something and people are watching the video game. Whereas here, it's a lot harder for me to sit here and instead, go through and just do drafts. Because drafts they're mentally taxing, to be honest. And I know it sounds like I'm being a little baby here, but to go through and narrate an entire draft and participate along and don't mess up any of your picks, trust me, we mess a lot of stuff up, my dudes. It is mentally draining. Okay, so thank God we get a Ben Roethlisberger falling to us here. We are definitely needing a quarterback that was going to be able to play all 16 weeks. So he actually stacks up on a week 7 bye with Trevor Lawrence as well. So the next quarterback that we draft definitely can't have a week 7 bye. And we are also going to be looking for receivers. So we need 1 more receiver. We need 1 more quarterback. I'm going to be so excited to see how many points this team projects for. Okay, so a big thing is also, guys, what we need to be looking for in a best ball league is I want guys that we know are going to be starting all 16 weeks. I know that at Taysom Hill here, if you're playing in a regular league where you have access to the waiver wire, I much prefer having Taysom Hill over some of these other options. But I think in this specific format, since wide receiver is so deep, we kind of need to make sure we get the only quarterback left that we are confident is going to start all 16. So yeah, we are going to draft Jared Goff there. We do crack 3,000 points on this projected team. So of course we love to see that. And let's slide this down after we draft Jared Goff. Pretty much have to reach for Jared Goff at the beginning of the 17th round. Possibly we could have gone with a quarterback in the 15th with the Daniel Jones. Let me know if y'all would have preferred to see us go with a quarterback in the 15th with Daniel Jones and then get a tight end later on. Maybe that's a play that we could have gone for. Aaron says, shows up on people's recommended videos. That's why a lot of people join the stream, because everyone drops a like. That's 100. That's my theory on it, Aaron. I'm just not 100% sure. Joe says, and most of them drink nasty G Fuel, has like 300 milligrams of caffeine. I can't drink caffeine this late. If I drank caffeine this late, I wouldn't sleep at all. That would just be detrimental. I get so excited for these live streams, to be honest. Like, I know I sound like the dumbest person ever, but I get so excited and so amped up that whenever I'm done streaming, it takes me like an hour just to cool down. Like, it takes me an hour to get my endorphins leveled back off. That's why going through what I've been doing the past couple nights is because when everybody signs up with promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, we're sending out all those draft guides throughout the entire night. So I've just been mainly sending out, like, after the live streams, I'll be up for another 2-3 hours. I'm sure that y'all been getting draft guides from me at just say like 2 a.m. and you're going like, what the hell is Mason doing up at 2 a.m.? It's because after these live streams, I go through and I send out all those draft guides for people who signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. Odin says, how much is the next draft? My man, for the next draft, we are going to be doing a poll in the live chat asking y'all. And Kadarius Toney goes, so I don't necessarily know who we're going to be looking at with wide receiver here. Let's pull up the board. We are locked into a wide receiver. We only have 7 on this team. The 7 receivers we have also, I mean, they're strong, but actually they are pretty damn strong. I mean, we got A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Laviska Shenault, Tyler Boyd, Michael Thomas, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Reagor. So I guess since we have a Michael Thomas in this league, we're really not looking points for at the end of the year. So I guess what we're actually looking for with the receiver with our last pick is going to be someone that we know has a role on his offense in week 1. We're not trying to make a bet on someone like an Amari Rodgers who possibly expands his role as the season goes on. We're going to need someone to cover those weeks where we actually are missing a Michael Thomas. Zachary says, do you use pre-workout when you go to the gym? I actually make my own pre-workout. Like I know it sounds dumb, but so technically, yes, it has like beta-alanine, citrulline, a lot of B12 vitamins, but I used to just do like the regular pre-workout with 300 milligrams caffeine, and it literally made me feel like a zombie. Like the rest of the day, I was so unproductive that I had to cut myself off of it. We got off of it. But let me go through. Let me show the rest of the draft board before we end this draft real quick, just so everybody can take a screenshot, maybe pause it, really whatever y'all want to do before we make our last round pick at receiver. And also, let me know what team y'all like. Let me know what team y'all like from this draft. I personally really like how this draft went for us. I mean, I'm going to be excited if we get some $50, $100 drafts going with this same type of construction. So Chuba Hubbard falling here, as well as Jerick McKinnon. It looks like Jerick McKinnon can possibly be the running back 2 in, oh my God, in Kansas City. Okay, so at the 18-11, there are a few names that stick out to me as definite options. There are 2 names that I'm really looking at here. Of course, I don't want to say them out loud until we get on the clock. Okay, so now that we got those tight ends going off the board, I think when we are talking about a receiver that can go through and start right away and possibly some spike weeks that Michael Thomas is missing, Adam Humphries looks like he's going to be playing a lot of snaps, especially in the slot this year for Washington. So yeah, here's going to be the end of the draft board, my dudes. Go through, pause it, take a screenshot, and let's set up our next draft. Okay, so I'm going to send out a poll in the live chat, okay? So we're going to ask a $5, a $50, and we're not going to do a $100. We did $100 drafts last night. So instead, let's do a $5 and a $50 draft right now. And then y'all can just vote, and we'll do whatever wins 50-50. We're 100% going to get at least one $50 draft in tonight. We're 100% going to get at least one more $5 draft in. Well, like I said, we're going to do, how about this? This is a realistic goal for the live stream. Let me send out this poll, and then I'll say it. Okay, let me set this up. So I'm asking which draft, $50 or $5. Okay, so this is a realistic goal for the live stream with how many drafts we are going to be doing tonight. If we hit 1,100 likes on the live stream, which should be easy, I think we got there yesterday, then we'll do 5 drafts again. That is a 5-hour live stream. And I know not everybody's going to be here for all 5 hours, and that's completely fine. If we hit 750 likes in the live stream, we'll do 4 drafts. Okay, guys, don't spam it in the chat. We're just going to go based on what the poll says. So it looks like a $5 draft is what it's going to be. Then after this one, we will get a $50 draft going because at the very minimum, we're doing 3 drafts tonight. And then from there, maybe we do 4, maybe we do 5. But I want to guarantee everybody that we at least get a $5 chat going a $5 draft going for the YouTube chat. And we're going to get a $50 draft going after this as well. Okay, so let's create a private link. And guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm sending out a link in the chat right now. I'm going to say, okay, join our $5 draft. You're going to see that it gets filled like this. It gets filled right away. Okay. So let's send this out. $5 draft, sending that link. Get ready, guys. It's going to fill. Like I said, we are drafting every single night until the season. Every single night we're drafting 3, 4, 5 drafts. So you can 100% get in a draft if you're out here every night. So let's send this out. $5 draft. Let's switch this over to show y'all how fast this fills. I just sent that link out in the live chat right now. So filled all the way through. Okay, so this is a $5 draft. I'm fine if you don't want to give me the 101. Don't give me the 101 in this one. Yeah, give me the 106. That's perfectly okay. And then we'll go through and we'll get the 101 in tomorrow's draft. We'll get the 101 in the draft after this, actually, when we're going to do a $50 draft. And also, I'll say, guys, a $50 draft, those fill a lot slower where you have a much better shot at getting in than the $5 leagues. Okay, so at the 106, last draft, Derrick Henry would have fallen to the 106. And honestly, while I don't love Derrick Henry when we're drafting 200, 250 drafts this offseason, honestly, when Henry falls to the 106, we kind of have to be drafting him there. SPAC doesn't get in. SPAC does not get in to draft Antonio Gibson again in the first round. SPAC, do not be complaining in the chat, my man. You've gotten in probably 12 of these drafts so far. Okay, Tyler says, what's up, man? How early should quarterbacks go in a Superflex redraft league? Do the elite running backs still go first? Mainly going to depend on the size of your league. We actually talk about that in depth in our draft guide. So please let me know if you're playing in an 8-team league, guys. An 8-team league, it being Superflex doesn't dictate much. You still want to be going with the elite running backs. Whereas if you're playing in a 12 or a 14-team league, that's when the demand for quarterbacks gets so high, you really want to be pushing them up your draft boards. So I'm going to need more information on that. Okay, so CMC, Dalvin Cook. We do not get Devontae Adams. That, of course, is always a pipe dream. Alvin Kamara at the 104. Let's see if Ezekiel Elliott goes over Derrick Henry, because that's something that you have been seeing very often as of late. So Derrick Henry does go. So we are going to be drafting Ezekiel Elliott. Now, let me go through and let me tell some people some stuff, because I know a lot of people are going to be saying, well, Mason, Saquon Barkley is higher than Ezekiel Elliott in your rankings. And my response to that is, yes, Saquon Barkley is higher than Ezekiel Elliott for a multitude of reasons, and we have to be drafting Ezekiel Elliott higher on Underdog for some other reasons. So the reason that I have Saquon Barkley as our running back 4 in fantasy, a big reason for that is in PPR leagues, the amount of targets that you could see Saquon Barkley having out of the backfield is really unmatched by any running back not named Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara. So transitioning from a full PPR to a half PPR is going to slightly hurt Saquon Barkley in the comparison to an Ezekiel Elliott. To go along with this, you actually have, like we discussed earlier with the Michael Thomas, the fact that in a regular league that you're going to be playing in, where you submit a starting lineup on a week-to-week basis, as well as you also have access to the waiver wire, you're having that traditional playoff setup where your points in weeks 14, 15, 16, 17, whenever you're playing your playoffs, those are going to be worth exponentially more than your points that you're getting in week 1, week 2, week 3 of the season. But on Underdog Fantasy, all those points are the same. So we understand that if Saquon Barkley misses 1 to 2 weeks in a regular league, which what our rankings are set up for in that draft guide. So guys, understand that when you get our draft guide for signing up for Underdog Fantasy, I'm not giving you rankings for Underdog Fantasy. I'm not giving you Underdog Fantasy rankings. I'm giving you rankings for your own 2021 Fantasy Football League that should be a PPR league where you're going through and you're also having the waiver wire. You're also having the ability to actually submit a starting lineup each and every week, and you play those playoffs. So Barkley in a full PPR where you have those other factors is going to be over Ezekiel Elliott for me. And also we have to consider that I'm drafting 250 of these teams, and a lot of these drafts are $50 drafts, guys. So can we do some quick math real quick and realize how much money I'm investing into fantasy football this year? So if I can be drafting Saquon Barkley in the late first in a lot of these drafts, I can't necessarily go out of my way and take Saquon Barkley at the 104, 105, 106 every single time. Because if that would be the case, all of a sudden I would have Barkley in about 40 to 50% of my leagues. And if I had Barkley in 40 to 50% of my leagues, you don't want any of your first round picks to eclipse maybe like a 20, 25% ownership whenever you're going through and having such a large portfolio. So we have to diversify slightly, and that is going to be with an Ezekiel Elliott. And here we are going to go with Ezekiel Elliott and then get DK Metcalf in round 2. DK Metcalf is someone that's been sliding up draft boards as of late, so I think getting him at the 207 is going to be fine. And guys, if you have yet to drop a like on the live stream yet, please make sure you go down there. Make sure you drop a like. We're about to pass 400 likes on the live stream. That is massive. And if we go through, if we try to look for some crazy picks so far through 2 rounds, to be completely honest, I don't see any. I mean, let me know if y'all see anything in the live chat that you think stands out to you that's like, oh my God, how did he go here? I think it looks really standard. I would prefer at this point, with the injury to Quentin Nelson, with the injury to Carson Wentz, I would prefer going with a Mixon over a Jonathan Taylor. I think we would also probably prefer going with a Travis Kelce over an Aaron Jones in an underdog format. But other than that, I think this has been a very standard draft. You have Najee Harris, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 210, 211. CEH is someone that I need to start drafting more. I need to start getting more Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know how we have not had him in more drafts because he is someone that I'm extremely high on, but I need to go out of my way and get more CEH. Okay, so now let's go through Keenan Allen at the 302. Ferris says, I have 25% exposure to Christian McCaffrey in 60 drafts. My man, that is called being lucky. That isn't called anything other than that. I mean, if I had the potential to have that much Christian McCaffrey, obviously I would, but for whatever reason, Underdog does not like giving us the 101. I mean, we never get the 101 in these leagues. So DeAndre Swift goes to Senior Skittles. So now we're going to be looking at a spot where this goes back to something that we had to do last night. So you know what? Since we did it last night, this is something that I also want to focus in on. And it just has to be a little bit different when I'm drafting 250 leagues. Like, I have to be completely honest with y'all with my thought process here. So I prefer Robert Woods over Terry McLaurin in fantasy for a multitude of reasons. A, we have seen Robert Woods with multiple seasons of production that Terry McLaurin has never hit. Now, I understand Terry McLaurin only has had 2 years in the NFL. I understand that he's played with some horrible quarterbacks, so I'm not holding that against Terry McLaurin per se. But what I am saying is both of these wide receivers have massive quarterback upgrades. And I would make the argument that the quarterback upgrade to Matthew Stafford for Robert Woods is actually larger than what you've had from Terry McLaurin. So with Robert Woods, he's playing in a much better offense. We have already seen the top level of production. He is himself getting a massive quarterback upgrade. So I prefer Robert Woods over Terry McLaurin. Now, with that being said, in last night's drafts, I actually went through and I drafted Terry McLaurin in about a league or two over Robert Woods. And the reason for that is we've gone and we've done, I don't know how many of these drafts so far, and I hadn't drafted Terry McLaurin in a single one. And we were in a range where we were drafting at about the 310 and Terry McLaurin fell there. And I went, okay, well, I guess I take Terry McLaurin now. If I'm ever going to get him in a single format ever, it has to be now. So whenever I'm saying I'm diversifying my portfolio and I'm making sure that we get some shares of certain players at a pick range, it's not me saying I need to have the same amount of Robert Woods and the same amount of Terry McLaurin in fantasy, because of course I'm not going to be doing that. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to make sure that if I like Robert Woods more than Terry McLaurin, maybe we have Robert Woods in 13% of my fantasy leagues, and we have Terry McLaurin maybe in 3% of my fantasy leagues. So just understanding that we're trying to find a nice balance of going after and getting the guys that I like, as well as not being as polarized as me drafting Robert Woods in 30% of my leagues and Terry McLaurin in 0%. I think it is going to be just a little bit different than how y'all draft, because if you're only going to draft in 5 leagues, you don't have to necessarily worry about that stuff. But I definitely want to be on the record and trying to be completely clear with my thought process in case you see any of those picks where, like last night, where I took a Terry McLaurin over a Robert Woods, even though I do have Robert Woods higher in my rankings. Teresa says, you got the 6th pick again. Damn. Yes, I guys, if y'all are new to this stream, I only get literally pick 3, pick 6, pick 7, pick 11, and pick 10. There are like 5 picks that Underdog likes to give me. We've probably done 50 of these drafts so far over the past, I want to say 2 weeks. And I've gotten the 101 one time. And we have done so many $50, $100 drafts. And we've done a lot of $5 drafts at the same time. And you better believe the one time that I got the 101, it was a $5 draft. So out of a significant amount of money that I have put into fantasy drafts so far this year, I've got $5 on a 101 team, which is not good. I'm hoping for some positive run good. I'm hoping for Underdog to decide to give us some 101 teams sometime soon, but yeah, I don't know how likely it is. Okay, so now it looks like running backs are going a little higher in this league than what we have seen previously. At the 407, we are going to be in a spot where we have already drafted Ezekiel Elliott, DK Metcalf, Robert Woods. So let's see where Goodnight. Okay, he goes DJ Moore. I really wanted to get a DJ Moore there. Y'all know how much I love Moore. So I think at this point, we also make another pick that's going to be seen as a reach. But a big thing is, I don't want to be caught behind the 8 ball at running back when we don't have access to a waiver wire, where y'all have seen me multiple times before go through and completely punt our running back too. If I get one guy that we like, I'm willing to go through and draft 7 wide receivers in a row. In Underdog, it's going to be a little bit different because you do have to make sure that you have your roster really balanced. So I think that getting Miles Sanders there at the 407, My other pick would have been a T. Higgins. T. Higgins would have been the wide receiver that I would have preferred. Now, I will say if DJ Moore fell to us at the 407, we most likely would have gone with Moore. And if we still desperately wanted a receiver, we probably would have gone with Higgins. Now, question is, what do y'all prefer more? Do y'all prefer the combination of, say, if we would have gone with a running back here in the second round, I would have gone with Clyde Edwards-Helaire if we went running back in the second round. So do y'all like DK Metcalf and Miles Sanders more, or do you like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and T. Higgins more? Please let me know what y'all are thinking about that, because I think that speaks volumes on if I should have gone with a receiver or a running back in the second round when we had DK Metcalf fall to us. Okay. Guys, if you have yet to drop a like on the video, make sure you go down there, drop a like. We are going to be getting drafts going after this one yet again. Of course, how many we do is determined by how many likes that we have on the live stream. So make sure you're dropping a like. And if you want to get in the next draft with us, make sure you go deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. When you use promo code FLOCK, you get $25 added onto your account. You also get our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. You get our 2021 rankings, hundreds of pages of information. I would make the argument we're $75, $80, but Underdog decided to sponsor it, so thank God they decided to do that. So now y'all are getting it for only a $10 deposit on Underdog. To go along with this, if we hit 10,000 people before the season signing up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, we're flying people out to Tampa, Florida to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with us, making a vlog, then going to the Florida Flock meetup after. So yeah, make sure y'all go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. There's nothing that y'all can do that helps this channel more. Let's switch this over. Okay, so I know a lot of people are going to be seeing a Kyle Pitts fall here and want me to go with Pitts, but I can't do it. Like I've said before, Kyle Pitts is going to be one of my least owned players in fantasy this year. I actually prefer both Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson over Kyle Pitts. And if we were going to be drafting an elite quarterback in this range, I want to be drafting those elite quarterbacks when we went with one of their top options in the first few rounds. So I'm willing to spend a 5th round pick on a Josh Allen, but I want that to be the same team that I took Stephon Diggs in the first round. I don't want it to be a team that I took Ezekiel Elliott. That doesn't make much sense. So instead, we are going to get our third wide receiver here in an Adam Thielen. We're going to start this draft off with Ezekiel Elliott, Miles Sanders, DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, and Adam Thielen. Definitely not a sexy start to this draft, but what's more important is I think they're going to put up a lot of points. Okay. MD says he would have gone with J.K. Dobbins in the third. I was planning on possibly going with a DeAndre Swift in the third if he would have fallen, but let me know what y'all think about that. Would y'all prefer... Okay, so I think this is a very interesting talking point. Would y'all prefer Dobbins? And if I was going to be taking a wide receiver here over Miles Sanders, I would have gone with the T. Higgins. So do y'all prefer with what we decided to do in going Robert Woods, Miles Sanders, or do you prefer a J.K. Dobbins, T. Higgins? Because this is going to be very important, because if you're drafting in the middle of the draft and you want to get at least one wide receiver and one running back in this range, you're going to almost 100% of the time have the potential to draft a J.K. Dobbins and a T. Higgins here at the 306 and the 407, if that's something that you would like to do. So if you can figure that out, that would be fantastic. Devin says, I got 4 101s in a row over the weekend on some $20 best ball. That is crazy, my man. 4 101s in a row. This is why we're not getting the 101, because in the algorithm, they got it where they're just giving them all to Devin. Odin says, Mason, you sniped Adam Thielen for me. Okay, so I believe Odin, let me know what team you are in the draft. Let me know what team you are, my man. Okay, so we have some people in the chat. Okay, so Devin says he would rather have J.K. Dobbins and T. Higgins. Crunch says Woods and Sanders. Raphael says Dobbins Higgins. Kyle says Dobbins Higgins. Gwyn says Woods. Devontae says Woods Sanders. Okay, so it's like literally split 50-50. Let me see if we would have any. So if we would go with the T. Higgins there, actually, I don't even know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That rabbit hole just leads way too far, and I don't necessarily think it leads anywhere productive. And with all jokes aside, they're drafting the backup running back in Atlanta in the 5th round. Did they not know they signed Longhorn legend Donta Foreman? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Donta Foreman's the starting running back there. Obviously, I'm joking, my dudes. Obviously, Donta Foreman coming off a torn Achilles is not a starting running back. I wish he was. Okay, so Hawkinson at the 604. I would have loved to have TJ Hawkinson on this team. Kenny Golladay there goes at the 605. Okay, so at the 607, I bet we're probably going to surprise some people. And we also passed 400 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. That's absolutely massive. This is our second draft of the night. I'm guaranteeing that we're doing another one after this. And if we get, like I said, 750 likes on the live stream, we'll do a fourth. If we get 1,100 likes on the live stream, we'll do a fifth. Okay. So the 607, I think what we're actually going to do is we're going to go with the Dak Prescott. Now, no, we do not have an Amari Cooper. We do not have a CeeDee Lamb. We do have an Ezekiel Elliott here, though. So might as well we just make the bet on the overall offense. Now, a big thing here is when we're getting a Dak Prescott in this round, it's mainly because I'm not in love with any of the receivers. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of Jerry Jeudy. Love the talent, but the problem is the situation's disgusting. So yeah, I'm going to go with a Dak there at the 607. Not in love with the selection, but I do think we prefer it slightly over the receivers. Or let me know what y'all think. Would y'all rather have a Josh Allen and a Deebo Samuel or an Adam Thielen and a Dak Prescott? I just personally think that Dak Prescott's a lot closer to these receivers than most people. I would actually, if you look at my rankings right now, if you got our 2021 draft guide by using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you'll actually see that we have Lamar Jackson as our quarterback 2 behind Patrick Mahomes. So Mahomes would have actually been my pick here at the 506. Okay, so Deebo, Jerry Jeudy, Laviska Shenault. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be a massive wide receiver run. But at wide receiver, we already have Metcalf, Woods, and Adam Thielen, so I don't think we're too worried about it. Chase Edmonds at the 611. Joshua says he definitely would prefer having Josh Allen and Deebo Samuel. I just think that I know that I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying this, but if you look at my rankings, I have like Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. I have them very close. I mean, I think that the tier drop-off is going to be further for me between an Adam Thielen and a Deebo Samuel than it is between a Josh Allen and a Dak Prescott. Okay, so DJ Chark goes there at the 612. DJ Chark or Laviska Shenault would have been the wide receiver I would have actually taken at the 607. Sucks that neither fall to us in the 70. I'm sorry. I wish that they kind of had the picks here as well. I guess that's going to be the 707, which is the 78th overall pick. I was hoping one of the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers were going to fall, which is why I really didn't want to bring their name up. Okay, so now let's pull up. Let's see where we're going to be going with this next pick. So this is actually the 706. Okay, so Russell Wilson looks like he may make it back to us. And if Russell Wilson does indeed make it back, I think that's going to indeed make our Dak Prescott selection look pretty bad, especially when Michael Gallup goes. I didn't want to say that name either, but I was really hoping we were getting Gallup on this team as a wide receiver 4. I thought we were going to be able to come away with the stack of the Dallas Cowboys offense in Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Michael Gallup. God, that just deflates me. And honestly, I know the Russell Wilson pick would look so good on a team with the DK Metcalf, but I do not think in this format you can afford to go with both a Dak Prescott and a Russell Wilson. I think it takes too much away from your other positions. So here instead, no, we're not going to reach. We're not going to reach on Michael Carter. Instead, I think we reach on another wide receiver that y'all know I'm a fan of. I know it's a reach, so I'm just going to acknowledge it. We're going to take Juju Smith-Schuster as our wide receiver 4. Now, he is on the same bye week 7 as a lot of other players, but a big thing is everybody's on bye week 7, so we're not having to worry about that too much. Zachary says, go Gallup if he falls. My man, Gallup did not fall. Trust me, I was hoping that Michael Gallup was going to fall. Now, Michael Thomas goes here at the 707. We actually ended up getting Michael Thomas at the end of the 8th round in one of our other drafts. Okay, Gory says, Mason, I know your schedule is blocked with these drafts, but please do a non-PPR top running back, wide receiver 12 video. What I will actually say is, if you look at our draft guide, we actually go through and we show you exactly how you want to be changing your draft strategy, going from a PPR to a non-PPR format, where we have our rankings laid out, and I talk about how I do want to be altering them in depth, and I show you based on historical usage at the flex spot with what you're going to be finding in the difference between a PPR and a non-PPR format and what that means for your drafts coming up. So all I have to say, use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, get paid $25 to do so, support the channel, and get our 2021 draft guide, and then we'll have all of that information right there. That draft guide is hundreds and hundreds of pages. And you also get our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide as well, with a 100-page breakdown of just what to expect from the rookie class. Jackson says Juju over Antonio Brown. I know we're going to get a lot of hate for that Juju Smith-Schuster pick, my dudes. Trust me, I understand. But at the same time, I'm saying I don't necessarily think there should be this large of a gap between Juju, Deontay Johnson, and Chase Claypool. I mean, the fact that we're getting Juju like 3 rounds after, I'm pretty much 3.5 rounds after, is just ridiculous to me. I mean, there's a 30 pick difference between Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster here. I know that y'all aren't agree with. I'm not even going to try to convince anybody that they should be drafting Juju. It's going to be my pick, though. Okay, so we have some more receivers going off. So Wilson fell to the 7-11. So actually, I still kind of think we made the correct decision in kind of making a bet that we were going to have Michael Gallup fall to us. It didn't work out. Michael Gallup does go ahead of his ADP. But still, I thought that the bet could have played out just perfectly fine if we would have had Gallup falling. And we got that Ezekiel Elliott, Michael Gallup, Dak Prescott start with the Dallas Cowboys. MD says Juju over Devonta Smith. Yes, sir. We're going to go Juju there. I'm not going to try to convince anybody on the Juju pick. I know nobody's going to be with me on that one. Okay, so now we are on the clock again. And I think we go with... We have 4 wide receivers on this team. We're going to go with a running back that I would... No, I'm not. I can't do it. We're going to go Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has the week 10 bye. We kind of need the week 10 bye with the week 7s that we have set up. Those running backs were very intriguing in this range. But the thing is, it looks like this draft may be skewing a little more wide receiver heavy. So I really wanted to take either James Robinson or an A.J. Dillon there. But I just think that we may be completely left out of the wide receiver position if we wait much longer. Whereas running back, we kind of have the luxury of waiting a little longer if we can when we go through and when we draft Ezekiel Elliott and Miles Sanders. So I want to make sure that we have wide receivers solved in a format like this. You have to start 3 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis here. Gory says, thanks, Mason. By the way, I got the draft guide. It helped me. Thank you so much for checking out that draft guide. Okay, so now after... And guys, by the way, I'm going to say a stat that not many people are going to believe me with. And I will, let me go to my other monitor just to double check because this is off the top of my head. I believe the difference in points per game between Juju Smith-Schuster and Terry McLaurin last year, it was like 1.4. I know nobody's going to believe me on that. That's why I'm pulling up my computer right now just to double check because I don't want to be saying a stat off the top of my head. And Juju was younger than Terry McLaurin last year. I mean, he's younger than Terry McLaurin now. And the difference between the 2 wide receivers was 1.4 points per game. Okay, so let's look this up. Terry McLaurin in points per game last year, 15.04. I lied to you. I'm so sorry, guys. I got the stat wrong. The difference between Terry McLaurin and Juju Smith-Schuster in points per game last year was 0.25. It was a quarter of a point. They were identical. Juju and Terry McLaurin last year were identical in fantasy production. Juju was younger. The reason why I think Juju has fallen so far in fantasy is because the spotlight was on him. He is clearly an off-the-field distraction for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't necessarily think that he's a good thing for the Steelers, but for fantasy purposes, this is still a receiver that was 24 years old last year and scored identical to, I mean, you look at this, he was, if you're talking about receivers that were within 1 points per game difference of a Juju Smith-Schuster. I'll get to in a second. Let's get back up on the clock here. And we're going to take a Dallas Goddard. We're going to have a very easy pick. We've yet to draft the tight end yet. That is a perfectly fine pick in my book. Let's go through. Let's show off this draft board for anybody who's just now pulling up to the live stream. So here in the first round, we decided to go with an Ezekiel Elliott. Then we go DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, Dak Prescott, Juju Smith-Schuster, Brandon Cooks, Dallas Goddard. Really like getting Goddard at the 906. Okay. So let's switch this. And we don't need any more talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. I know people are going to hate me with that Juju talk. You can look up the stats. I'm staring at them right now. Through 17 weeks of the season, Terry McLaurin averages 15.05 points per game. Juju Smith-Schuster, 14.76 points per game. Case and point. Suck it. Mike says, well, y'all need to understand Mason isn't saying Juju over McLaurin. The difference is the players 4 rounds. Yes, of course I'm not drafting Juju Smith-Schuster over Terry McLaurin. Is there anybody in the live chat right now trying to tell me that Terry McLaurin should be a better fantasy pick than Juju? Of course I'm not telling you to draft Juju in the 3rd over Terry McLaurin. What I'm saying is I'm saying that a receiver that y'all think is a fantastic 3rd round pick, if you look at it in reality, the receiver that's going 4 rounds after was younger and had the same production. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would probably rather get the receiver in the 7th round than the receiver in the 3rd. I'm not saying, hey, Juju needs to be a 3rd round pick over Terry McLaurin. That's the last thing I'm saying. Okay. So Tony Pollard at the 10:01, Noah Fant at the 10:02. And I'm sorry to sound like an ass, my dudes. I know the big thing about me is I am an idiot, and I really want y'all to push back on me, and I really want y'all to go through and tell me when I'm wrong, which I truly appreciate when y'all do in the comment section and you leave a good explanation behind it. But the problem is I have a soft spot with Juju Smith-Schuster. I will just completely say that. It's a touchy subject. So I'm sorry that I kind of go off on a tangent there. Definitely something I need to work on. Okay, so now when we're on the clock, we really not in a range to get super excited about anybody. So let's see where Goodnight Zone goes. He goes Robert Tonyan. So we are just in the dead middle of the pack right now. I think that we have a clear pick, to be honest, with the Jalen Hurts. We just get that Philadelphia stack with the Dallas Goddard. At the same time, we draft Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. We don't have to think about it. I know there's a small chance that we have Deshaun Watson going over to Philadelphia, but still, I think the upside that Hurts presents with his legs is going to be worth that pick. Okay, so Ruggs going directly after. And the big thing is, guys, I just don't expect to have any options at those quarterbacks coming back. Trey Lance, Joe Burrow, none of them are going to be there. They're going to go, I can guarantee you, in this range. They're not making it back to us the 126. I think quarterback is by far and away the best value on the board. Yeah, see, you're starting to see these guys. Matthew Stafford, honestly, I'm an idiot. We should have gone Stafford. We probably should have gone Stafford. Just because, I mean, you're looking at Stafford as someone that we would have been able to have the stack in there with a player like Robert Woods. But at the same time, with Jalen Hurts, we do still have his wide receivers to go after this round. And we get a big Philadelphia stack in here. We also have Miles Sanders. I'm completely fine with this team. I'm completely fine. Inferno says, dude, being a Steelers fan, Juju's a good receiver. The skill is there. No mention of being a contract year. My man, I think for the most part, contract years are mainly just a narrative people like pushing in fantasy when they have nothing else to talk about. We can talk about how Juju was in a contract year last year. It's the same exact situation. It's not like Juju's in a, I don't think that necessarily bleeds into our analysis whatsoever. I think what matters more so is the opportunity that he had in the offense last year and how that should project going forward as well. So yeah, just like we said, these quarterbacks, you knew they were going to go off the board. There's no way they were making it back to us. Okay. So let's pull this up. I guess a Burrow maybe makes it back. We can't take him, but if a Burrow made it back, I think that does make our Jalen Hurts pick in the last round look pretty bad. Okay, so now we are mainly, we can't look at quarterbacks anymore. We're only running back, receiver, and tight end. Okay, so let's see where Hoop State decides to go. He started off very strong at receiver. He goes with a Gus Edwards to continue to fix that running back position. Let's see where Senior Skittles decides to go. His one quarterback is Ryan Tannehill, so hopefully he goes Joe Burrow. Of course, we don't know. Dwayne says Mason's analytics going to end up making him the Cleveland's GM. My man, I'll say that I seem like I'm pretty smart with analytics, but there are a million people way smarter than me. Like, pretty much anybody who creates DFS content knows way more about analytics than I do. They don't use it for season-long fantasy. They use it for DFS. I think I'm one of the very few people using it for season-long fantasy. Okay, Michael Pittman. Trust me, guys, I've been all aboard the Michael Pittman is overrated train for I don't know how long. I was screaming for months into the wind that Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell should have been way closer. It was laughable that you add wide receivers like a Henry Ruggs going that far behind a Michael Pittman. But at this range, when he's falling to the middle of the 11th, I think we are fine grabbing him there. Now, Jamal Williams goes. So we are going to be kind of behind the 8 ball at running back. Maybe we could have considered going Jamal Williams. I really wanted a Gus Edwards to fall to us. We've actually had the chance to draft Jamal Williams a lot in the middle of the 12th round. So it does suck to see him go there one pick after us. MD says, my problem with Juju is I think he has zero upside. Yeah, it does suck that we've never seen Juju be a top 10 wide receiver before in fantasy, where we have seen that same thing with Terry McLaurin. You know, like Terry McLaurin back at 20 and 21 years old, you know, he had posted multiple years in the top 10 at the position, where Juju, we've never seen that elite production. So there's no reason to think he could ever get there again. For everybody who knows about Juju, just 2 or 3 years ago, putting up elite numbers. Okay, so Traquan, Emmanuel Sanders, Gabriel Davis. Okay, so after we take Pittman here, we are hoping these wide receivers go off, because I think we're pretty much running low on the receivers that we can draft on this roster. Like, we pull up this roster, so we go Zeke, Miles Sanders, literally as our only running backs. At receiver, we go DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman. We're extremely strong at quarterback with Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts, and we have Dallas Goddard at tight end. Mike says, Mason, your most owned receiver is going to be Pittman by the time the season starts. Do not put that bad juju on me. Do not put that on me. It's just like Josh Jacobs. You all know Josh Jacobs, when he was a third-round pick at the beginning of the offseason, I was screaming that he was the worst pick in fantasy. And now he's going in the 5th round, and I'm going, okay, well, we'll draft him in the 5th. I'm not drafting Odell Beckham Jr. over him, I'll tell you that. Okay, so Latavius Murray goes at the 11-12. It is interesting. I kind of would have liked to see an Irv Smith fall to us in the 12th round as well. Okay, so Joshua says, I like Elijah Moore, but in the 9th round, geez, that's high. Okay, so let's see where Elijah Moore ended up going here. So he went at the 902. So the thing is, the wide receivers that went after him, would you prefer having a Rashad Bateman, a Devontae Parker, a Corey Davis, or a Russell Gage over Elijah Moore? I think Jamison Crowder would have been gone. If Jamison Crowder got cut instead of restructured his contract, then I would be right there with you. I'd be screaming that I would actually prefer probably I would be saying that Elijah Moore was a great value there. I'm sorry, just got completely confused. But now I think that it's actually in question maybe to be drafting Devontae Parker over him, to be honest. Sir Dilly says, hi there, Mason. Swift is missing practice with a groin injury. First off, thank you, Sir Dilly, for recently joining the flock on Patreon. I actually just recorded a podcast for you on Patreon that's going to get released tonight. It's uploaded on Patreon, but it's as a private post. I wanted to make sure we got done with the live stream before I was going to release it. And we're only going running back, receiver, tight end here. But I guess considering we have the Philadelphia stack, we go Jalen Reagor, don't we? We go Jalen Reagor, and we're all in on Philadelphia. If Philly goes to being the Baltimore Ravens offense of 2019, we win the league. If Jalen Hurts is a bum, we lose the league. Very simple. So let's go Jalen Reagor there. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, guys. With stacks, we're not necessarily reaching on them, but when Jalen Reagor is sitting at the top of the ADP board and we have Jalen Hurts here, it's kind of hard not to take him. Now, I think we may have to honestly draft. I think we may have to be drafting 6 running backs on this team, which you hate to see. Hate. We can maybe get away with 5. We're going to see what running backs fall to us. Okay, guys, I don't know if this Swift groin injury is a big deal. Am I wrong in just assuming that this is something small we don't need to be worrying about? Let me look up DeAndre Swift groin injury. And also, guys, if you have not dropped a like on the video, if you have not subscribed to the channel, I simply don't know what to do by now. We're live streaming every single night. So if you're not dropping likes, you're not subscribing to the channel, you could be potentially missing out on some fantastic content. Okay, so we're looking up Swift right now on Twitter. And, of course, there's a bunch of Taylor Swift and god dang stuff popping up. Okay, let's look up DeAndre Swift. See if we can get any reports on this. This is how, honestly, I kind of do everything. Okay, so DeAndre Swift missing significant practice time while nursing a sore groin. Okay, this is significant. Okay, so it looks like DeAndre Swift is significantly hurt. Actually, he still has plenty of time to get to 100% for the week 1 opener, but soft tissue injuries can be tricky. Yeah, we already know that. I think maybe people are overreacting. Let me read a little bit more into it. Okay, yeah, but thank you for the swift call. I definitely want to look this up right now. Okay, so now we get Gerald Everett falling to us. We definitely need Gerald Everett coming in here as our tight end too. I mean, this draft literally just we've just been clicking the very top of the ADP board over and over and over again. Okay, so let's go back down to the bottom. Okay, so now let me look at this Swift. Let's go back, see if we have anything else about DeAndre Swift. People are so funny. Like people are tweeting out. I looked up DeAndre Swift. People would be tweeting out DeAndre Swift, now a running back 2 in fantasy. You can clearly tell that real fantasy analysts, a lot of people that make videos, a lot of people that make podcasts don't play in real leagues, because if you've been playing in real leagues, like we draft 5 leagues a night for the past like 2 weeks now. And although we're so many real dynasty leagues, you know, DeAndre Swift was always being drafted as a running back 2. Don't tell me DeAndre Swift's a running back 2 now. Okay. It's so funny when like quote unquote analysts and experts expose themselves as not knowing anything that's actually going on in real fantasy drafts. Oh my God, that it is pretty funny. Okay, so maybe we have to, we're going to have to monitor the Swift thing. Hopefully something else comes out. Okay, Jayan says, I love them adding draft slot numbers. Yeah, no, I actually really like what Underdog did here to kind of make the draft board more colorful. I think it looks a lot better. And also, guys, we are about to pass 500 likes on the live stream. That is absolutely massive. We're getting another draft going after this, no matter what. And like I said, if we hit 750 likes on the live stream, we'll be doing 2 more drafts after this instead of 1 more draft. And if we hit 1,100, we'll be doing 5 more drafts. But 1,100 is such a crazy number. There's probably no way that we hit that. And I'm mainly just saying that because I'm fine doing 3 or 4 drafts. I think 5 drafts is going to be really hard to get to, though. So that's why I'm giving y'all a crazy, crazy number. Okay, so Sterling Shepard at the 1401. Okay, so come on. Have these running backs fall to us. We can't be seeing guys like Rashad Penny go, we only have 2 running backs on this team. We only have 2 running backs on this team. I'll say Jamal Williams is one of my highest owned players in fantasy football, to be honest. I've been drafting Jamal Williams a ton in these underdog drafts. Just a ridiculous amount. Okay, so let's go through. I also want to see how many subscribers we have on the channel. So we got a ton of people subscribing today. Okay, so Fitzpatrick at the 1404. Okay, honestly, Papa Skoggs is right here taking my least 2 favorite quarterbacks in fantasy drafts in Baker Mayfield and Ryan Fitzmagic. I honestly don't agree with either pick, to be honest. But now we are on the clock, and I do not know if we can draft another receiver. Maybe we go another tight end and we're done at the tight end position. So at tight end, we have Goddard, Everett. We need some running backs. But the problem is, I don't know if we can go running back here. Am I supposed to take a Damian Williams? I don't think I can take Damian. I can't take Damian Williams here. I can't take these running backs. We're punting running back. I think we possibly go with our 3rd tight end and we're done with the tight end position. We're going to go Anthony Ferguson. We're getting our 3rd tight end. This could be a very bad call. We're continuing to punt running back. We're going to have to spend 6 roster spots on the running back position. Yeah, this is no bueno. No bueno. Okay. Switch this over here. So Cole Kmet goes directly after Anthony Ferguson. So we are no longer drafting QB or tight end. We get 1 more receiver on this team, and then the rest of the draft is RB. I mean, maybe we don't even get 1 more receiver. If we want 6 running backs, we may have to draft a running back every round from here on out. We're going to have to figure it out. And guys, if y'all have yet to go down there, subscribe to the channel. If you have yet to, more importantly, support the show, where if you've been watching these live streams almost every night, understand that there's one reason why we are doing these live streams every single night, and that is because of this partnership that we have gotten with Underdog Fantasy. So if you're enjoying this, make sure you support the channel. Make sure you get access to $25 getting paid to you to do something. You're just essentially signing up to do a job right now. They're going, hey, do you want to get paid to be a fantasy football drafter? Do you want to be a part-time fantasy football drafter? We'll give you $25. Go do it for tonight. Go see if you like it. So make sure you get your $25. Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy with a $10 deposit. You also get my 2021 rankings. You get my 2021 draft guide. Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. There's nothing that helps this channel more. If we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, we are also going through and we are going to be doing a giveaway where we are bringing people to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with us. I'm wearing a giant Flock costume mascot thing, and we're going to vlog the entire thing. We're going to go to a Florida Flock meetup after. So make sure you go down there, support the channel by using promo code FLOCK. Okay. So we have some people telling us to go look at the 10th pick overall. Let me go do it. Let's go look at that 10th pick. I see someone says 750 likes isn't happening tonight on the stream. My man, we've done 2 drafts and we already have 500 likes on the stream. We're hitting 750 after this next draft. I promise you that. We'll do it. We're going to hit 750 likes and we'll get 4 drafts going. But let me, before we look at the 10th team, let's go through and let's look at who we are going to be drafting. So like I said, we're done at the tight end position. We're pretty much in. We didn't have, the only running back that went off the board before us was, I guess we could potentially look at receiver as well. Because I think possibly we draft another receiver. It's going to mainly depend on the value in this draft. But yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, Senior Skittles here. He takes James White. So I think we have to take Damian Williams. Has there been an update with Tariq Cohen? I don't think we even have time to look up a Tariq Cohen update. So we're just going to have to take Damian Williams as the running back 2 right now in Chicago and pray that you do not have Tariq Cohen healthy. But let's go and let's look at the 110 here for Dash. And here he started off the draft with Tyreek Hill, Antonio Gibson. I would have done the same thing at these 2 picks. Terry McLaurin in the 3rd. Not a massive fan of Terry McLaurin, but if you're ever going to draft them, this is the value to do so at. Mahomes in the 4th to get that stack with Tyreek Hill. Robbie Anderson in the 5th as the best receiver available. Kareem Hunt in the 6th. This is a fantastic, fantastic draft. And also what I really like that we see what Dash did here is you see how he takes Mahomes in the 4th. When you take Mahomes in the 4th, you cannot invest really anything else into the quarterback position or it's going to be very, very suboptimal. So after getting Mahomes in the 4th, he turns around and his next quarterback pick's not going to be until the end of the 15th round where he takes a Ben Roethlisberger. So I really like what he was able to pull off here. Let me see. Where did Mecole Hardman go in this draft? So Mecole Hardman went at the 802. I think that what we would have done is, I guess Tyler Boyd did fall very far compared to where he usually goes in ADP. I mean, Tyler Boyd was like the best available player in ADP up in this range. So I guess when he falls there, maybe you still go Boyd over Hardman and just hope that you get Hardman falling back to you at the 803. Yeah, that's a very good draft. I don't know if we would have gotten, I don't know if we would have kind of reached on Hardman a little bit more there over Tyler Boyd, but regardless, I do like the draft. Okay, Eric says, do we know how much the next draft is? So we are going to be doing a, Devin says, you said you had 6K loaded onto Underdog. How much do you have left? We have 5 on Underdog, my dude. I'm looking at, we have 5.1. After this next draft, guys, we are going to be doing a $50 draft. And then if we hit 750 likes after that, we'll either be doing another $50 or a $5, depending on what y'all vote on. But I did say we were going to get at least one $50 draft in here tonight. So we are going to most likely be switching this next one over to $50 after we did back-to-back 5. Okay. Joseph coming in with a donation. Thank you so much, my man. First donation of the night. I truly, truly appreciate it. Okay, so now let's pull up the draft. Let's figure out where we're going to be going. Okay, Zach Wilson's still available. Love the Wilson value. Can't take advantage of it, though. So Xavier Jones, Philip Lindsay did go before us. So we're mainly just going to be looking at receiver and running back here. Chuba Hubbard goes. So essentially, I think if we were in a position where we were loaded up with running backs and we only needed one more, there we go with the Darrington Evans, because Darrington Evans has a much higher ceiling than what you have with the Tevin Coleman, and that he is the handcuff running back to a guy coming off of 800 touches over the past 2 years, 27 years old, and a top offense. But we are looking for anybody that can get touches right now at the running back position. And in a construction like that, I think instead we actually end up having to go with, I think we have to go with a Tevin Coleman. I think he's honestly going to be the best pick there. Jayan says, joining the flock was the worst thing to happen to my wallet. Jayan, my man, you are just hopping in literally Jayan hops into every single $50 or $100 draft. I think that's on you, one. I think that's on you, my man. Okay, Joseph says, explain the scoring of the $50 draft where it's going to be just like this one. It's going to be identical to this one where it's 18 rounds. It's a best ball league where you have one quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a flex, and a tight end getting started each and every week. Underdog is going to automatically submit your highest scoring starting lineup at the end of each week, so you don't have to worry about that through the season. So instead, you can focus in on waivers, and you can also focus in on just making those start-sit decisions in the leagues that you're already in and you care about a lot with your friends, or maybe those high-money leagues that you're going to be jumping in for some redraft action. But that's why Underdog is so good, because since you don't have to go through and submit your starting lineups or do waivers through the course of the year, of course, you're not only going to be drafting on Underdog. You're going to be going through and drafting and playing with your friends at the same time, but Underdog is going to make you significantly better than all of your friends in fantasy football, especially in fantasy football drafts where you'll be able to go out there and crush them. Okay, so now let's go down here. Dwayne Eskridge goes at the 1701. And guys, we passed 500 likes on the live stream. That is massive. Okay, so now let's switch this back over. So now, like I said, only running back, receiver. That's the only thing we can look at. We could potentially look to get this team. The points aren't projected that high for it, but honestly, I really like this roster. David coming in with a donation. Thank you, my man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Said, keep it up. Okay. So with this next team at running back, they're not going to be... Actually, there are a few guys that I like. Let's just get another running back, to be honest, though. I think that with a format like this, we are going to be wanting... Because all our wide receivers have roles in their offenses. So I think we need to be getting extra running backs. I think we get a Jerick McKinnon as a handcuff running back for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It sounds like he's actually playing over Darrell Williams right now, which I did not expect, but that's going to be one of those few training reports that we really need to make sure that we're paying attention to, and we really need to make sure that we are adjusting based on what they're telling us. And I kind of said this before training camp happened, and that we're not looking for beat reporters to tell us, ooh, this player looks explosive, or ooh, this player's playing better than this player. No, we're looking at, okay, who's running with the first team offense? Who's running with the second team offense? Who's running with the third team offense? And it looks like right now, Jerick McKinnon is actually getting a lot of work compared to Darrell Williams. So you definitely have to be raising McKinnon up in your rankings. Okay, so let's go through. Super Panda Bear says, if you drafted from the 101 50 times, how many times would you draft Christian McCaffrey? I mean, I need to know how many drafts we're doing, period. Are we only doing 50 drafts and every single time we draft from the 101? In that case, I'd probably take McCaffrey in 25 leagues, just say half the leagues. Then we go Dalvin Cook in 25% of the leagues. So just say we get him in about 12 of them, 12, 13. And then we go through and throw a few spots on an Alvin Kamara team or a Devontae Adams team and just kind of mix it up. Okay. So Darrell Williams of the 17-12, the other running back in Kansas City that we had just got done talking about, is now he sounds like he's most likely losing the job there as the running back too. Okay, Dalton Schultz at the 1801. Dalton Schultz does have some positive buzz coming out of Dallas. Schultz and Blake Jarwin are getting a lot closer together. Sir Dilly says, it's amazing how you're able to keep up with the chat as well as the draft. I really appreciate the effort and the attention to detail. Thank you. No, my man, thank you so much for supporting the channel in the live stream as well as over there on Patreon. I hope that you like the podcast that we're getting out for you tonight. I promise you, my man, I'm going to upload that tonight. It's already uploaded. I just need to make it public. I should have done that beforehand, but I was having a day with the Patreon video that we made today. We made a Patreon video. It was a pretty big deal for myself. I don't think it was a big deal for anybody else, but yeah, I was a little focused in on that. Okay, so now here, I think we actually go down a lot on the board. We're going to go with a Ramondre Stevenson. And I'm going to go yell at my dog real quick so she stops doing that and I don't get kicked out of my apartment. Oh my God, she was at the door, people talking outside, thinking that someone was going to break in, and I have no idea. God dang. I'm gonna get kicked out of this apartment complex. There's no way we do not have complaints that I'm live streaming, recording until 2 a.m. with the dog barking at the door. This is gonna be not a good situation. Okay, so let's show the bottom of the draft board. Let's show the top of the draft board at the same time. Okay, guys, stop saying that I'm going to go hit the dog. No, I'm going to go get the dog. I'm going to go put her in my room. The dog is 100 pounds. You think I could realistically hit a 100-pound dog without getting attacked and murdered? Okay, so now let's go through and let's get another draft going. This one, I'm not going to do a poll in the live chat real quick because we already determined we're doing a $50 draft. So we're going to do a $50 draft tonight. Okay, so let's get this going up. So Ethan says, Mason, what day do your contacts arrive? Oh my God, my man. The contact situation, it was a big part of my day this morning. It was a big part of my day. It was stressful. But hopefully they're here, and hopefully they're here in like 2 days. I paid for like overnight shipping because if you can tell, my eyes are starting to hurt real bad. And it's because I got cheap contacts this past time. Nick says, what kind of dog do you have? I have a Great Pyrenees. She's like 100 pounds. She's usually really good, but in this new apartment complex, she just gets spooked by anybody walking by. Saquon says, how old do you have to be to play underdog? You have to be 18 years old. Okay. And I think it actually may vary by state to state. Maybe there are like 1 or 2 states that you actually have to be 50. I'm sorry, not 50. You actually have to be 21. I'm unsure. I know that you have to be 18 in the majority of states. Okay. So let's see. You see this $50 draft gets filled a little bit slower where, I mean, right now we're still waiting for 2 people. So if you want to get in a $50 draft, it's going to be a much easier time than getting in a $5 draft. Jackson says, blue light glasses, my man. This is what I was talking about. This is what we were talking about right here. I said, give me the 106. Give me the 110 in the $5 leagues. In the $50 league, we got the 101. This is what it is about. Y'all are about to see how it is done in fantasy football. Now, for anybody that has ever been a hater of the channel, for anybody who's ever looked at me and said, Mason, you're an idiot. For whether it's me talking about Chris Godwin being overrated back in 2019, then he comes out and he's the wide receiver 2 overall. Whether it's me talking about Juju Smith-Schuster being a massive value last year in the 3rd, 4th round, and he comes out, man, instead he's just a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3. What are some other dumb calls that I've had? Whether it's me, I believe I said Joshua Kelly was a must-start running back back in week 3 when he was playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Regardless, actually, no, he's playing the Carolina Panthers back in week 3. I've made a lot of dumb calls, but all that goes out the window right now, and y'all are going to see exactly how smart I am. Okay? Look at this. Big brain up here. Look at that. Okay, CMC at the 101. And you're going to tell me that I'm stupid. And you're going to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. After I'm drafting Christian McCaffrey, of course I know what I'm talking. Look what I just did. I got Christian McCaffrey on my team. It's game over. Game over. Mike says, finally get the 101 when it counts. Yes, sir. We get the 101 here. Hell yes. Hell yes. Okay, Lank Dog says pressure is on. Yes, sir. The pressure is on. Let's build this team correctly. Let's get this excited. We actually had the 102 earlier tonight as well. So y'all can tell I'm probably excited, but we've pulled some good draft spots. We pulled some good draft spots. And my God, do we see these big brain plays right here at the 101? God, I'm like too smart for my own good, to be honest. Okay, So we got 102, Dalvin Cook, 103, Devontae Adams, Zeke at the 104, Kamara at the 105, Kelsey at the 106. Okay, so we got a while to fall back to us. And we know, I mean, we've done enough of these drafts where you know what's going to be going on at the 1-2 turn. We're essentially going to be looking at the wide receivers in this range. We're going to be looking at nobody up here. It's going to be down here, most likely a Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen. We're most likely going to be also looking at a George Kittle. Running backs, usually no running backs are falling in that range that you'd be intrigued in. I mean, by the time we get to there, a lot of the time you actually only have the top running back being like DeAndre Swift. You're not drafting Swift at the 2-3 turn. So yeah, it's essentially going to be wide receiver, or tight end at the 2-3 turn. I mean, that's not as surprising to anybody. Yeah, Nick says, what do you want at the turn? Just went through. I'm not going to say the players because I don't want to get sniped. But yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at. Okay, so now Barkley at the 110, Eckler at the 111. Michael says, if it was a 2-quarterback league, would you still go CMC or Mahomes? If it was a redraft league just for 2021, you go Christian McCaffrey still over Patrick Mahomes. If it was a dynasty league, you go with Mahomes. Mike says, or the hack was finally successful. That's what it was, my dudes. Y'all saw me at the very beginning of the live stream where I had the audio off and I couldn't figure out how to be smart enough to set up a live stream. But I am able to hack into anything. I mean, we hacked in. We got the 101. Whenever I went to yell at the dog and to throw her in my room and have her away from the front door, y'all thought that's what I was doing. I actually kind of had a speaker set up there. I pressed the button. We had some dogs barking out there. Reality, it wasn't my dog whatsoever. I went into the other room. I had like a little setup. I pressed a few buttons to lock in the 101 because I knew we were doing the $50 draft right now. So yeah, that's actually what I was doing when I left. Okay, MD says, content idea, given during the season, give weekly prop bets picks on underdog. We are going to, I don't know if we're going to do that guaranteed. I'm going to be definitely monitoring the picks that underdog offers. And if I think that I'm smart enough to give advice on it, then we'll do it. But I've stayed away from giving out DFS content so far because I think a lot of people giving DFS content are not necessarily doing it for the right reasons. I don't think that they're winning players themselves. So if I don't think that I'm a winning DFS player, which I'm not, I love playing DFS, but up until this point, I haven't had a long track record of winning. So I don't necessarily think we want to be going out of our way and giving out advice on it. But if we go through, if I think that it's going to be entertaining and we actually have some success with it and the props look beatable, then yes, I'll make videos. I'll have to put the disclaimer at the beginning of the video that I don't know what I'm talking about because DFS is completely different than season-long fantasy. Ryan says, Mason, how much do you squat or deadlift? So guys, if y'all don't know, I was on the powerlifting team. My best deadlift of all time was actually 465 and I weighed about 162 at the time. So I had a deadlift that was almost 3x my body weight. And obviously you look at me and I'm not taking anything. That's maybe taking creatine. Okay, so the 212, 301, maybe we get a running back falling to us, either Joe Mixon or Najee Harris. I don't think it's likely, but maybe. Okay, so Joe Mixon goes to the 210. That would have been the running back that we would have been looking for falling to us. I think a Najee Harris here, honestly, I'm not even excited about. So Kittle goes. So I think we do end up taking Najee Harris. I'm definitely not excited about it, though. We either go Harris, Jefferson, or we go Jefferson, Lamb. We're gonna go Harris, even though a big edge that you get with Christian McCaffrey is you don't have to reach on any of those running backs in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I think that getting Harris, what I should have done just as a statement is I should have took Jefferson at the 212 and Najee Harris at the 301. But it is what it is. We're going to go with Najee Harris at the 212. Eric says, how come you guys take Adams in the middle of the first over the running backs? My man, we are going to be having that explanation come out in 2 days on the channel. Yeah, so I see people wanting us to take Najee Harris in the chat. I'm just really concerned about the offensive line. I'm concerned about the offensive line. I'm concerned about the offense in general. But yeah, sure, I'll take Najee Harris here at the 212. I don't like that it's in a $50 draft. I would rather get some exposure in a $5 draft, but it is what it is. And also, guys, if you have yet to go down there and drop a like on the live stream, make sure you drop a like. If we hit 750 likes in this live stream, we will be doing another draft after this one. So make sure you go down there and drop that like. Imagine says, what do you think about drafting Travis Kelce at the 103? Personally, I prefer Davante Adams over Travis Kelce. I understand the thought process behind it, though, in saying that with Travis Kelce, if he had the same production that he had the year prior, of course, Travis Kelce is a significantly better pick than Davante Adams at the 103. But the problem is you're going to be expecting Kelce to have, at least in my opinion, the slight downside of a fall off, given the fact that he is going to be 32 years old this upcoming year. I know we saw no signs of slowing down, but I at least want to keep that in the back of our minds a little bit to expect Travis Kelce to dip in production. So if you knew that Kelce was going to be just as productive as he was last year, Kelce would either be going as the second or third pick overall in a format like this, where you'd only have to draft one other tight end. But the problem is you have to be a little bit worried about a fall off with his age. But here, Blazer goes through and he gets the trifecta for Kansas City. He gets Kelce, he gets Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he gets Patrick Mahomes. So he locks up essentially every single touchdown that Kansas City is going to see. So yeah, I mean, obviously start with a ton of upside. Dylan says, what happened to the draft board? Yeah, my man, Underdog spiced it up for us. They went through, they added some color to it. I definitely like this new draft board. Let me know what y'all thinking, but I really like this Underdog draft board here. Okay, John says, just curious, but why are you nervous about Najee and the Steelers' offensive line, but like Saquon coming off a bad knee injury with his offensive line? I've been on record saying that, yes, we're 100% concerned about Saquon Barkley's offensive line, but the difference is we have seen running backs behind bad offensive lines overcome it before with the usage they get in the receiving game. And we have seen previously Saquon Barkley be able to rack up the same amount of targets per game, maybe even a little bit more than Alvin Kamara. So understanding that Daniel Jones isn't going to have the time to look deep downfield to Kenny Golladay very often, I'm expecting that the targets are going to outweigh it for Saquon Barkley, as well as the efficiency that you should expect to come with those targets, given the talent that Saquon Barkley is. So I think that if we had Barkley more so as a running back that profile to only cap out at 4 targets per game, someone like an Ezekiel Elliott, at that point, yes, we're not going to be that high on Barkley. But in a full PPR format where we know that Barkley can get to 7-8 targets a game, we have seen it before, I think it's kind of a different situation than Najee Harris. I'm going to be expecting Najee Harris to be closer to 4 targets a game than 8. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people are saying they like the new draft board on Underdog. Okay, I'm happy to hear that, my dudes. I'm happy to hear that, because we're going to be continuing to do these Underdog drafts every single night. Okay, and just in case we have any new people out to the live stream, first off, what took you so long to find this channel? I feel bad for you that you've gone this long without being a part of the flock. I mean, your life is about to improve dramatically. All you have to do is go down there, hit that red subscribe button. You'll become a way, 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 way better fantasy football player. So I definitely recommend doing that. So then we have Godwin, Julio Jones, T. Higgins. So I don't like seeing wide receivers go off the board. I definitely do not like seeing that. Okay. So let's pull this up, see where we're going to be going. Okay, if we were going to be drafting a quarterback, literally, like, there are no elite quarterbacks here that fit this stack. So I honestly, maybe if there's just nobody that we like, we get a Josh Allen, knowing what it does for us only having to draft one more QB, but I doubt it. So let's see where Chadwick's picks goes. And like I said, guys, this is a $50 draft, so we have some real stakes in the line here. Okay, so Henderson goes at the 409. Gopak goes on the clock. He has Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen. Scantron's right before us. He has Dalvin Cook, Allen Robinson, and George Kittle. Okay, so let's see where Gopak decides. Okay. I have no idea what to expect here. So he goes Jamar Chase. Okay, so Scantron's on. And this is like a big disadvantage that we have. So Scantron obviously knows that we would never draft Kyle Pitts in a million years. So like when everybody knows our rankings, when everybody knows what we are looking to do, like if we're picking on the end like here, if he wants a Kyle Pitts, he can just take someone else and guarantee himself that he's getting Kyle Pitts at the 502 anyway. So he goes Claypool. I really don't want to do this. How embarrassing is it going to be if I go through and our first 101 team that we have had in I don't know how long, we mess it up? How embarrassing would that be? we're going to draft Miles Sanders, and I'm going to sit here and try to convince myself not to take Travis Etienne. Okay. Think, Mason, think. You don't need Etienne on this team. But the problem is, I'm not taking Kyle Pitts. I'm not taking an elite quarterback. We're either going running back or receiver. Are we really taking Deontay Johnson? Are we taking Adam Thielen over Travis Etienne? I guess we're doing it. We're taking Adam Thielen. We're kind of getting a stack in here with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. If we would have had a Dalvin Cook instead of a Christian McCaffrey, I would have gone with Etienne with our fourth running back. But yeah, Etienne goes to the 502. It was close for us. It was very close. Josh Jacobs goes to the 503. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people in the chat were telling us not to go with Etienne. I knew y'all wouldn't want us to go with Etienne. I knew y'all wouldn't want to. Okay, so Not Gang says he wants us to go with Josh Allen. My man, I couldn't go with Josh Allen. There's no way I was doing that. Okay, so Deontay Johnson at the 504. A big thing with Josh Allen, guys, I've said this so many times before. I'm fine drafting him in the 5th round, but I need to make sure that I have Stephon Diggs on that team. I'll draft Josh Allen in the 5th round when I took Stephon Diggs in the 1st or 2nd. Okay. So I think this is actually a really good start to a 101 team. I'm glad that I talked myself out of going with a Travis Etienne. That would have been that would have been bad. That would have been the definition of me just trying to get cute with it instead of creating a good team. So thank God we talked ourselves out of that. Nathan coming out with a donation says, finally got the 101. Just hopped in. Good luck, Mason. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Thank you. John says, you're sick with that stack. I'm unfollowing this page. Bye. Okay. Bye, my dude. Thank you, John, for coming out, going through and supporting the channel by leaving some comments. Thank you, my man. Okay, so Robbie Anderson, Odell going at the 506 and the 507, directly behind Lamar Jackson. Tyler says, do you watch/listen to any other fantasy football content creators? I'll say I listen to a decent amount of fantasy football content creators. I think there are a lot of people putting out good quality podcasts, like on Apple Podcast. The main reason that I actually started a fantasy football channel, however, is personally, I don't think really any of the content that's getting put out on YouTube for fantasy football is that great. I think it's a lot of people who don't necessarily actually play in fantasy football leagues. Instead, they like making videos. Where I started this channel because, I mean, there's nothing that I enjoy more. And I've been a high volume fantasy football player, a high volume dynasty fantasy football player for a very long time now. So that's the main reason I started the channel. So to be honest, I do not watch a single person on YouTube with fantasy football. I listen to a lot of Apple Podcasts with fantasy football because I think there are a lot of people who know what they're talking about that do play fantasy leagues for real, because the last thing you want to be doing is listening to a podcast or listening to a device from someone you can tell isn't actually putting their real money out there and playing in fantasy leagues. That's like, that's like hiring a chef that during the interview process, he goes, hey, you want to go down to McDonald's, get us some sandwiches? I think that's probably a really bad idea. But there are a few guys on Apple Podcasts that I think they're not necessarily good at like talking into a microphone or something. That kind of sounds crappy to say. So they don't have really large followings, but at the same time, they're really good with their fantasy football analysis. A Region says pick 7 down bad right now. They went Aaron Jones, Metcalf, Woods, Higgins, Robbie Anderson, a very common start that we have been seeing as of late. Someone going running back, receiver, 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 receiver. Okay, Ryan says, Jackson, you are on to something. Let me see if Jackson's in here or you're talking about someone in the chat. Okay, so in this range, we definitely don't want any running backs falling to us. I mean, I thought that ETN or Josh Jacobs were decent value at the 501. I tried to convince myself to go that route. We just simply couldn't. Llama says, pick 7 needs Mike Davis. Well, Mike Davis goes 1 pick prior. Mike Davis goes at the 605. They go with Myles Gaskin. Honestly, I probably prefer Myles Gaskin over Mike Davis anyway. I prefer Javonte Williams over both of them, to be honest. Okay, so let's get this set up. We're about to be up with back-to-back picks. Okay, so here Chadwick's has Zeke, Henderson, A.J. Brown. So he goes Mike Williams. Kareem Hunt goes. Okay, I thought we were actually going to be drafting Kareem Hunt at this turn. I really thought we were getting Kareem Hunt. Okay, so Scantron goes Michael Gallup. So I think we go DJ Chark, then Cortland Sutton. Yeah, because we want wide receiver. We're going to go Chark Sutton. I'm not a massive fan of Sutton whatsoever. Y'all know that 99% of the time y'all are going to see me pass on Cortland Sutton. But considering he falls beyond his ADP, I think we just draft him. He doesn't fit our bye week. Now we have 7 players at the receiver position on a week 7 bye. So we do need to make sure that going forward, we are trying to avoid that bye week where we can. Okay, guys, let me remind y'all, please do not be spamming in the chat over and over and over again. There's nothing that we are going to go through and do to mute you if you're being mean to me. Like if you're coming out and just talking about, hey, guys, I can tell that Mason's just one smelly dude. I mean, I can just tell by the video that this guy stinks in real life. You're not going to get muted. You can come out. You can be as mean to me as possible. I don't care. But what you can't do is you can't go through and spam the chat over and over and over again, because that actually ruins the chat for everybody else. So please make sure you're not doing that. Like not Ang right now. I'm trying not to mute you. I'm trying not to mute you. Okay, Mike says Chark and Sutton are the picks. Yeah, so let me know what y'all think of this 101 team. I mean, we don't get the opportunity to draft at 101 very often. A lot of people ask me, where would you draft if you had the option to pick your own draft spot? And my answer literally every single time is the 101. And I don't think it's remotely close, because Christian McCaffrey just gives you such an edge from a roster construction standpoint. So yeah, I think that we've done a good job taking advantage here. I almost just completely punted it with taking Travis Etienne in the 5th round. I almost couldn't help myself, but it is what it is. Okay, guys, I know a lot of people are... Okay. Okay, let me go through and check the... AMD says, most content creators are out about Chark except you. What do you like about him? Hey, guys, can I go through and can I talk about something about content creators real quick? Content creators. If y'all have noticed, there will be like a player of the week that everybody comes out and everybody at the same time goes, this guy's undervalued, this guy's undervalued, this guy's undervalued, or this guy's overvalued, this guy's overvalued, this guy's overvalued. And it's so funny that will be one player every single week and everybody talks about the same player, because what will happen is one person says that and then Johnny next door goes, that sounded smart. I should probably say that on my podcast. That sounded smart. I should probably say that on my YouTube channel. And also, when a lot of people are saying the same thing, it makes you look smarter, because it's like, ooh, I respect that guy. This guy has the same opinion. Ooh, these guys are smart. This guy over here that's talking about something else, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he presents it with numbers and stuff, and these guys are presenting it with narratives. So just because everybody's talking about a player being a fade doesn't necessarily make them a fade. A lot of times, people just like to hop in. It's called the Twitter echo chamber. I mean, people are just going, hey, let's all get behind this one guy. Let's drive him up 3 rounds in ADP. Or let's drive this one guy down 3 rounds in ADP. Sometimes it's for a good reason. Sometimes it's not. So I'm not saying this is the case with DJ Chark, but please don't necessarily just say, okay, a bunch of people are talking bad about this player. We need to move him down. What is wrong with you? Why are you talking good about him? Now you can ask what I like about DJ Chark, and what I can tell you about DJ Chark is this is a wide receiver that if you go back to 2019 when he played with Gardner Minshew, his 2nd year in the NFL, this was someone that if you remove the last few weeks of the season after he suffered his injury, he was actually a top 12 wide receiver at the position in year 2 with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback. And we also know with the DJ Chark, this is someone that came into the NFL out of LSU with a ridiculous size speed profile, where I wasn't even drafting him in dynasty rookie drafts back in 2019 when he came out of LSU. I'm sorry, out of that 2018 class. I apologize. But what we did is we went out there and we kind of bought him low, because he was supposed to be a project wide receiver that was going to eventually develop into that pro-ready guy with his elite speed. And then he eventually showed that after being pretty much a redshirt player his rookie season in the NFL, comes out and is essentially a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy before his injury, which was the majority of the season, by the way, with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback. And yes, last year was bad, but last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars were the worst team in the NFL. This team goes out, they sign Marvin Jones, and that's all they really bring in. They lose out on a ton of targets with Keelan Cole, James O'Shaughnessy, Tyler Eifert, so many players leaving this offense that got a ridiculous amount of usage last year. So there are more than enough targets to go around for Marvin Jones to come in, as well as giving a little bit more to both Travis Etienne and Laviska Shenault. And Trevor Lawrence is going to elevate the entire offense to a point where DJ Chark was a very bad pick in fantasy last year, but he was in a much worse situation than he's in this year, and he's significantly cheaper this year as well. So DJ Chark at the 6-7 turn, I'm going to be happy about. Okay, so now we have a bunch of receivers going off here, and I think that we're kind of fine with that because if we pull up our roster right now, this is a team where we have 4 wide receivers, we have 3 running backs, so we can start to look at quarterback. If we're going to be looking at any stacks potentially on this team, obviously we're not stacking any Denver quarterback with Cortland Sutton. That's not going to be an interest to us. We could go with Minnesota with a Kirk Cousins. We could go with a Trevor Lawrence and a DJ Chark, and possibly we get someone with this turn right here as well. Okay, so now let's go through. So A.J. Dillon at the 809. And guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, what are you doing? Fix your life. Nobody is out here doing this. Drop a like, and if we hit 700 likes on this live stream, we'll be getting another draft going after this one, my dudes. We had like a 5-hour live stream yesterday going through and doing these drafts. And also, if you have yet to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, fix your life. Go use promo code FLOCK. What it does is it gets you a $25 bonus when you make a $10 deposit. They pay you $25 to join Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. On top of that, well, first let me get these picks out of the way. We are going to be going with a combination of James Robinson at running back. We're going to get our 4th running back off the board here. Now we are going to be done at the running back position, and we're going to get Jalen Waddle as well. Not a massive fan of the value that we have at either QB or tight end. We can go through. We can draft both 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends to fit this roster construction. But anyway, getting back to this, guys, if you have yet to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Get a with a $10 deposit, get a $25 bonus. Get our entire 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, hundreds of pages long. Get our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, over 100 pages long. Get our rankings, and Underdog's paying you $25 to do it. And if we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy, we're flying people out to Tampa, Florida to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with me. We're going to vlog the entire thing. I'm going to wear a mascot of the Flock costume. And I think we're going to wear a Flock costume of the mascot. And what else? We're doing a Flock meetup in Florida. So many things going on. Just make sure you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And obviously, that's the reason why we are doing these live streams, is because Flock is partnering with this channel. So if you're enjoying the streams, even if you're not interested in the million things that I just talked about, at the very least, just consider it you paying $10 for me to live stream every single night for the rest of the year, and Underdog's paying you $25 on top of that. Okay, so you actually have Dallas Goddard going here at the 907. So that would have been the tight end we would have considered here at this turn. So we are hoping that we get some tight ends falling to us. I could have potentially considered a quarterback here with Trevor Lawrence at the 8-9 turn. But the problem is I just don't necessarily think that's going to be, the problem is even if he would have fallen, I don't think that's a pick that's justified. Even if we would have got that DJ Chark stack, I think we would have still been reaching a little much there. So I'm honestly kind of glad that we did not have the temptation of getting a Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, I think the quarterbacks maybe went a little too high for our liking here, but we will get them in a little bit. Okay, Jaden says, what do you think about the training camp news on Jamar Chase? My man, honestly, I'm going to be pretty real. Let me look up what you were talking about with the training camp news on Jamar Chase. Okay, so let's go. Let's look this up. Please don't tell me this is a beat reporter saying Jamar Chase looks good. Jamar Chase makes a great catch. Okay. I do not see anything on Jamar Chase. Let me know if I'm missing something with Jamar Chase. I should probably just look it on. Yeah, I think that maybe you're just talking about, or did a beat reporter say, oh, Jamar Chase looks so good, or Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1 in Cincinnati? Is that the quote-unquote news? Okay, so now let's go through Marvin Jones at the 10:01. Derrick says news for Chase. He looks good. My God. That was the news on Jamar Chase. That's what we needed to look up. Okay, of course Jamar Chase looks good, guys. He was the 5th round. He was the 5th pick overall. What are you expecting here? Okay, so we have a Zach Moss, a Logan Thomas. So let's switch this over. So this team so far at running back, we have, by the way, we are no longer looking at running back. We are done drafting RBs. We have Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, James Robinson. At receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Cortland Sutton, and Jalen Waddle. So we're not done drafting receiver yet. If we like a value that falls to us, we can go with them. But essentially, we're just going to be looking at quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end with our upcoming back-to-back picks. Yeah, let's see what falls to us. We have Trey Lance going at QB, so it looks like this QB well may be drying sometime soon. David says, Mason, the Chase news is that he isn't getting great separation. I'm not looking for training camp news that is talking about performance. The training camp news that matters to me is talking about usage in the offense. I'm not caring about what a beat reporter says. A beat reporter means nothing to me. Their quote-unquote scouting ability is literally nothing. If they go, okay, well, like we said, the perfect example of a piece of training camp news that matters is a running back that I did not necessarily like at the beginning of the process, but now I think we actually had to raise our rankings on him. Real quick, let me go through and let me figure out who we're drafting. We're drafting Jalen Hurts with one of these picks. We're going Jalen Hurts, and I think we possibly go Irv Smith. We're going Jalen Hurts and Irv Smith to get our first quarterback and our first tight end in here. But an example of, oh my gosh, that felt so good. I love sneezing. But an example of some training camp news that actually matters to me is a running back that I didn't like at the beginning of the process, and a Michael Carter. When he opens up training camp, getting reps with the first team, that matters dramatically. We need to go through, we need to adjust our rankings. When we don't necessarily know that a running back situation sorted out in Kansas City behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we don't know if it's going to be Darrell Williams. We don't know if it's going to be Jerick McKinnon. And then all of a sudden, reports are coming out that it sounds like it's going to be Jerick McKinnon. Significant news, adjust our rankings. Those are going to be the reports that we are looking at. I'm not going to be looking at, oh, so-and-so made a fantastic catch, or, oh, so-and-so doesn't look that good. Beat reporters in their quote-unquote analysis doesn't mean much to me. Let me know if y'all think that I'm wrong in saying that, but I want to be looking at usage and what's actually going on in the offense. Jan says, Donta Foreman season, baby. Let's effing go. My man, I am excited to see Donta Foreman. You're also saying thoughts on the 109 team. Okay, so let's go through. Jan, did you get in this draft? No, you did not. But anyway, I guess we're going to be looking at Zachary's team here. Let me go through. Let me just hide this camera. Let's go look at the 109 team. You have Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Deebo Samuel, Jarvis. Okay, so pretty weak at receiver. I mean, you do have 4 guys, and I guess you have Tyreek Hill, so I shouldn't say that it's weak. And at running back, Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins, and then down here, Zach Moss, the 1004. I do like that value that you're getting on a Zach Moss. Now, tight end, the combination of Andrews and Tyler Higbee. I'll say, personally, I can't be drafting Tyler Higbee here when you take Mark Andrews. If you do, okay, but now you're going to have to be done at drafting tight ends. I mean, you kind of locked yourself out, kind of how we can't draft running backs anymore. And then also we go through and we look at your quarterback position. You have Justin Herbert. Did you get a stack earlier on? I think this is, I think this is a very, I don't say bland. Bland is the wrong word, but it's a very cut and dry team, right? I think you just saw picks drafted at value. They don't necessarily fit in any particular order. Okay, that was the wrong button there. But yeah, I think that's just going to be a team that doesn't require that much analysis because there's not that much going on with it. Okay, so Robert says, bruh, hurry the flock up. I got my $50 join finger ready. Okay, so guys, like I said, if we hit 750 likes in this live stream, we'll be getting another draft going after this. That's very easy. Just pretty much 130 more likes from where we are at right now. And we have about 20 minutes to get there. I'm sure that there are probably 90 people, at the minimum, 90 people in this live stream right now that have not dropped a like on the stream. So guys, if you're enjoying the stream, make sure you go down there. Make sure you drop a like. Tyler says, hey man, new to the stream. Are you concerned at all with Jalen Hurts given the rumors of the Eagles possibly trading for Watson? Yes, sir. You're definitely concerned slightly. And we've actually seen the Jalen Hurts ADP significantly fall because of the rumors. Previously, he was going up here in the range that you would see with the Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill. He was essentially going a full 2 rounds ahead. Now you're seeing that significant fall. So I think that, well, yeah, you definitely have to not completely forget about it. At the same time, I mean, the impact is kind of already baked into the price. Like, I'm not drafting Jalen Hurts where he was going before the Watson news. We're drafting Jalen Hurts where he was going after the Watson news. Yeah, so Emmanuel Sanders goes at the 12:01. Okay, so we are up to 650 likes in the live stream. Thank you, everybody, for going down there and dropping that like. Okay, Brandon said, dudes, ignoring my question. Brandon, my man, I am specifically not answering your question for you getting so triggered that I didn't answer your question when we have this many questions in the live chat at once. So I have no idea what you think is going on, Brandon. You are more than welcome to leave. Okay, so Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley at the beginning of the 12th. You're getting those wide receivers going off the board that we know are going to play a significant amount of snaps on one of the most pass-happy offenses in the entire NFL. Okay, so we have one tight end. We have one quarterback. We definitely need some QBs and tight ends falling to us. I'm fine with wide receivers falling. Okay, Gesicki at the 12:05. Let's see what players are still available. Okay, let's pull this up. So we really can't go running back. Good thing we can't go running back. I mean, the only guys that I'd be that intrigued with would be a David Johnson, Naheem Hines, a Devin Singletary, or an Alexander Madison. I guess there are a few running backs you can be intrigued with. Tight end looks like it's drying up. Kind of sucks. Maybe we would consider an Evan Ingram. I don't know if we could consider a Jonnu Smith in this range. I'm actually surprised to see the ADP be so close between an Evan Ingram and a Jonnu Smith. So Matt Ryan goes there, wide receiver. I guess, okay, Jalen Reagor goes. I was going to say we could get that intriguing stack coming in with a Jalen Hurts. Naheem Hines goes. Okay, we are 2 picks away. So go Pack Go here. Has Brady at quarterback, Mixon, Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt, Gus Edwards. He has a decent amount of wide receivers, and he can literally go anywhere. He's one of the most balanced teams. I think both of these teams are extremely balanced. Let's see, go Pack Go. And, okay, so he goes to a Tagovailoa. So what quarterbacks are available? Okay, so you have both Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. So let's see where Scantron decides to go. Come on, Scantron. Let's get this in. Let's go. Oh, boys, we are here, and we made it. We made it. With this team, we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Irv Smith Jr. So you know, there's one player that we needed, which is our man, Kirk Cousins. Getting him as the best quarterback available left on the board. I was nervous when I saw Tua go. I was nervous when I saw Matt Ryan go. I really thought Scantron was going to take him. I really thought he was going to steal him from us. But we are going to go with a Kirk Cousins, and we are going to go with an Evan Ingram. My God, that could not have turned out any better. That was the perfect turn of events. This is the best team we've ever drafted. This is the best team we have ever drafted. My God. Guys, drop a like for us pulling that stack off. Drop a like for that at the minimum. I know you shouldn't get that excited about Kirk Cousins, but if this team's going to be any good, Kirk Cousins better have a good year. I mean, we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Irv Smith all on the same roster. That is, I mean, let's go through and let's show this off real quick. We have killed this draft. So the 101, you see that we are, I mean, this just kind of shows how good we are at fantasy football. This shows why you're subscribed to the channel. We get the 101 and we take Christian McCaffrey. What else do you need to see? What else do I need to prove? God dang. So we start off with CMC, Najee Harris at the 212, Justin Jefferson at the 301, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Cortland Sutton, James Robinson, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Hurts. We get our quarterback and tight end situated. perfectly in that 4-round stretch. Gosh dang. I'm happy with that draft. Jayan says, I'm happy I'm not in this draft. Yeah, my man. Everybody, the other 11 owners in this draft, this is the one thing that I'll say is very bad about Underdog Fantasy, to be honest. If you're getting in Underdog Fantasy drafts with us on this channel, you just kind of have to deal with the fact that I'm going to crush you. You know what I mean? So like, it's all fun and games thinking you could come in and you could like theoretically beat me on the live stream, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, you hop in a draft like this and I'm good enough and I draft Christian McCaffrey at the 101. God dang, this is perfect. Brandon says, I won $223K last year in DFS. My man, the reason I don't believe that is because you are the most obnoxious person ever. And I think that anybody that either wins $223,000 in DFS either does so through grinding through cash games at an extremely high bankroll, and they have to be extremely smart enough to not be as obnoxious as you are in the live chat, or maybe they get really lucky and they bink 1 or 2 tournaments. So you're either very, very lucky and you binked a tournament or 2 and you shouldn't necessarily be coming out here and trying to give advice to anybody, or you are just a complete liar. There's only 1 or 2 ends of the spectrum. Okay, so now let's go through Alexander at the 13-11. So Brian Edwards at the 13-12. Casey says, definitely taking your money in that $50 draft from a few nights ago. My man, let's forget about that one. Let's just talk about this one. Okay, so Brian Edwards at the 13-12. Okay, so it looks like it's interesting that the past 4 rounds really have been really depleted from wide receiver. I wonder if this has something to do with the Christian McCaffrey team building through 4 running backs at the top of the draft. Maybe I'm just kind of overrating that. Let's go to the top of the draft board and let's see if there are any other teams that kind of soaked up running backs at the beginning. I don't know, because let's go through it. Okay, so I guess Zach Moss, that's not necessarily going really high. Never mind, completely ignore me. Running backs are going in a completely fine range. Yeah, so this is completely fine here. So now we go quarterback. Yeah, QB kind of falls a little bit in this draft, honestly. So never mind. I think that we're just kind of caught off guard with how few wide receivers are going. Dylan says, congrats on getting the 101, Mason. You killed this draft. Thank you, my dude. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. And also, guys, we are about to pass 700 likes in the live stream. We are possibly going to be getting another draft going after this. Okay, Brandon says, dude, I played DFS for 26 years. My man, DFS has not been around for 26 years. And at the same time, you're probably 12 years old. So don't be telling me you've played DFS for 26 years. Okay, so T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, Jamison Crowder. So we pull this up. Now, honestly, I would really like some receiver value falling to us. We can't take running back. We can take another quarterback or a tight end if we really, really like the value. I don't think we necessarily have to, because we could kind of wait. I don't want to say completely punt the position. But also, how many rounds do we have left in this draft? We have 5 more rounds. So we're either going to get 9 wide receivers. Yeah, we're probably going to get 3 QBs, 3 tight ends, 8 receivers. Sammy Watkins continuing to rise up draft boards. Zach Wilson at the 1409. Okay, so at the 14-12, we are about to be on the clock with back-to-back picks. Ooh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we kind of messed that up there. Okay, so Wilson. This is interesting. I don't think we can go with the John Brown, given the reports about Brian Edwards possibly playing over him. KJ Hamler goes really high in this draft. I think we get possibly a Cole Kmet here, lock down our 3rd tight end. I don't think we're that confident enough where we can just... What QBs? We have Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins. We're going to go Cole Kmet, and I think we get another wide receiver here. So there's been a bunch of positive buzz lately about Marquez Callaway. We have Jalen Waddle on this team. I think we assume that Waddle's going to give us production later on in the year. Marquez Callaway could give us production at the beginning when we don't have Michael Thomas. So yeah, we're going to go Callaway. Okay, so let's scroll this down real quick. Let me know what y'all think about that. I think we could have got Daniel Jones. Maybe I should have convinced myself to go Daniel Jones there. I should have probably convinced myself to go Daniel Jones. That's what we probably should have done. Tyler says, are all leagues on Underdog Best Ball? Yes, sir. All leagues on Underdog are Best Ball. Dylan says, Mason, can we get a workout special? Can we get a workout vlog for the 30,000 subscriber special? How about this? We'll add a workout vlog on top of the Flock Meetup vlog, on top of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer vlog, if we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy with promo code Flock. Guys, I'll pull up my YouTube stats right now. In the past, let's look at the past 7 days. In the past 7 days, we've gotten 188,000 views. Those are going to go dramatically up when we get closer to the season. So it should be very easy for us to hit 10,000 signups for Underdog Fantasy when, I mean, you're getting paid $25 to do it. You're getting our draft guide. You're getting our rankings. We're streaming every night for you. So definitely make sure you use promo code Flock on Underdog Fantasy. I'll throw that workout special on top of everything that we get. On top of everything. Miles says, what time are you doing the next draft? So tomorrow night, we're probably doing... I think we're going to push it back to where we're going to most likely start at like 9 p.m. Eastern from now on. Maybe we do like 8:30, anywhere from 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern. The next draft, if we hit 750 likes, we're going to do another draft right after this one. Literally right after this one. Okay. So let's switch this over. Daniel Jones does go at the 1505. So it is nice seeing some other receivers go over Daniel Jones so we don't necessarily have to sit there and kind of regret that pick over and over again. Okay, so Steven says, no more drafts tonight, question mark. My man, if we hit 750 likes, I can guarantee you another draft. Guarantee it. Okay, Derek says, 26 years DFS vet. My bag, I was doing DFS back before the Depression. You ain't got nothing. That's pretty funny, Derek. I was doing DFS before the internet started. Okay, so Eric Ebron at the 15-11. So we do like seeing these tight ends go off the board with a Jared Cook, with the Blake Jarwin, with an Eric Ebron. Once we have Irv Smith, Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, because we're done drafting tight end. Like I said, really the only thing we're doing from here on out is we get one more quarterback and we get two more receivers. At least I think. Don't we? Let me look up. Actually, I guess we can scroll over here to see what our roster construction is. Yeah, we need one more quarterback, two more receivers. Yeah, we just hit 700 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. Thank you. Steven says, don't you wish this was a $100 draft? LOL, finally with the 101. I do wish it was a $100 draft. I'm not going to be greedy, though. I'm happy with it being a $50. With it being a $50, we're more than happy. We did two $5 drafts start off the night. I said at the beginning of the stream, I was fine going through and getting some random crap picks as long as they gave us the 101 when it mattered. And they did give us the 101 when it mattered. Okay, so Derek Carr at the 1603. Ryan says, Mason Bro, serious question. Would you draft Mike Williams or Mike? Ha ha ha. David says, did you see the news on Gus Bus? He said he's the third down back and goal line back. I think we need to come up with a chart on what is allowed to be news. I think we need to come up with a chart like that. Okay. So Hooper goes at the 1605. Mark says, how high do you move up the top tight ends and quarterbacks when you have a 12-team league but a super shallow bench? It allows you to not draft the backup. Yeah, I've actually broken down a lot of teams on Patreon like that as of late where they're like 8-man leagues and all of a sudden you're looking at they have 4 bench spots and I'm saying, hey, well, if you, like a team that I broke down actually had like Josh Allen and they were rostering a backup and Jalen Hurts. I was like, man, you got to drop Jalen Hurts. I mean, clearly that's going to be suboptimal in a format like this. I'll say I'm going to be bumping up the elite tight ends a little bit more because I think they're going to be less replaceable because what you also have to remember is that quarterback, if the benches are shallow, you're also having the luxury of where your waiver wire options are going to be significantly better. So you could potentially stream the quarterback position at the same time. Teresa says, to join Underdog, do you have to have PayPal? No, you do not have to have PayPal. You can enter your card information from the PayPal screen. Okay, so let's switch this over. Now we are done drafting both tight ends and running back. So we're going to be getting a quarterback and 2 wide receivers to end this draft. So Chadwick's, let's see where he decides to go. He goes Xavier Jones. Let's see where Go Pack go. God dang it. Oh my gosh. You know how high I would be jumping up and down if we got Sam Darnold on this team? I would have been losing my mind if we got Darnold. I think we have to reach on Jared Goff. Let's take Dwayne Eskridge here while we kind of think about it. Alan Lazard has to go down with Randall Cobb coming in. Deshaun Jackson, I'm not drafting at all. Tutu Atwell got Demarcus Robinson. Sounds like Cornell Powell's running over him. Do we reach on Jared Goff as a quarterback 3 just because we know he's going to start all 16 weeks? Could be a busted pick. Could be a wasted pick, but we're going to do it. Okay. So this team so far, let's go through. Let's look at the full draft board. So at running back, we have CMC, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, and James Robinson. At wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Marquez Callaway, Dwayne Eskridge, and we're going to get another wide receiver to end the draft after this. And then at tight end, we have the combination of Irv Smith, Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, and at quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. How many points is this team projected to see? 29, 38. I thought it'd be more than that. Okay, so now let's go through and see, yeah, guys, like I said, if this stream hits 30 more likes, we'll get another draft going. We got 2 more rounds. Let's get there. If we get 30 more likes in this live stream, we'll get another draft going. But the problem is, I think just like, obviously, if this is a league where we have access to the waiver wire, you're never considering drafting Jared Goff. Not for a second. You would rather have a Cam Newton because Cam Newton's going to score a significant amount of points at the beginning of the season compared to someone like Jared Goff. But the difference is you're really wanting guys that you know are going to be able to come out and they are going to be able to just play all 16 weeks, because if they're playing all 16 weeks, there's just more potential for them to actually come through and see those spikes. Okay. So Jerick McKinnon at the 1705, Deshaun Jackson at the 1706. With Jackson, I just really can't go out of my way, and I can't be drafting him because the big problem is you're just looking at him as a receiver that there are so many other guys in that room. They have Cooper Kupp, they have Robert Woods, they have Van Jefferson. None of them project to play a similar role as a Deshaun Jackson, but they also bring in Tutu Atwell, which Tutu Atwell, yes, he is a tiny receiver, never going to hit a decent amount of targets, but at the same time with Tutu Atwell, that's someone that you know has a speed element where he can be playing a significant amount of snaps. So that's something that you need to be worried about with Tutu Atwell taking away from Deshaun Jackson. And at the same time, how old is Deshaun Jackson? Jackson has to be like, 32, 33 years old? Let me look this up. He's 34 years old. Okay, I'm completely wrong. I'm surprised that Deshaun Jackson stuck around in the NFL that long as a speed wide receiver. I'll say my first time I actually ever won a fantasy football league. This is going to be kind of a callback to a lot of people I know, probably, I don't want to say a trip down memory lane, but it's kind of funny back when it happened. It was the Nick Foles, Chip Kelly, Deshaun Jackson year. I mean, my first time ever going through and fully winning it, I actually went through and I stacked the entire Philadelphia Eagles offense, essentially, where I drafted LaShawn McCoy in the first round. I don't remember where I drafted Deshaun Jackson. We also, I believe, we had a lot of Philadelphia Eagles from that team where essentially every Sunday, because it was at that point, I wasn't playing fantasy with a lot of volume yet. I was playing fantasy just in a decent amount of leagues, where my biggest buy-in league was that the league where I had the Philadelphia Eagles stack, where I was like a young child just going through and watching every Eagles game I can with a passion, because I was just hoping for as many points as possible because they were just ripping off plays so fast. Okay. Well, it looks like we did hit 750 likes on the live stream, so we'll be getting another draft going after this. Thank you. Thank you, my dudes, for coming down out here and dropping those likes. We're going to do a vote on if y'all want a $5 or a $50 league. I'll just ask that in the live chat and y'all can figure that out. Okay, and y'all said we were not going to be hitting 750 likes in this live stream. That's what the haters said. The haters said we weren't getting there. Where are the haters at now? Let's pull this up. We're going to be getting our last receiver on this team. So Kadarius Toney, Josh Palmer, a lot of these guys are intriguing. I'm not necessarily going to be trying to push for a stack with one of these last receiving options. So Darren Arnold goes. Of course, you love to see tight ends. We want to see tight ends, quarterbacks, running backs. We want to see them all go. We need to just make sure we're getting one more wide receiver on this team. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask the live chat right now if y'all want our next draft to be a $50 or a $5 draft, and y'all can vote on it, and we'll just do whatever the leading vote is. I think it's just the most fair for me to do a poll. Just do a poll because... Okay, so at 18-12, the last pick of the draft. Okay, so I guess we go... Do we go Fulgham now? I mean, we have Jalen Hurts. We have Miles Sanders. Might as well go Travis Fulgham. He's the top player according to ADP. Yeah, we're gonna get Travis Fulgham. Devonta Smith with an injury. It is what it is. We'll just take him. Okay, so now let's switch this over and let's see what the winning poll ended up being. Okay, I think this is one of the first times that $50 has won as a poll straight up. So it looks like we're gonna get another $50 draft going. Let me end the poll just to make sure we can confirm because it looks like it's close to a 50-50 split on what y'all want. So let me make sure we have the official numbers in here before I set anything up because I don't want to set it up and then all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, $50 draft won 51% of the votes. So that's very close. We're going to get a $50 draft going for everybody. And I'm going to send out a link in the live chat and say, hey, if you want in the $50 draft, this is where it's at. It's going to be very, very simple. And guys, if you want to play with us in these live streams, it's going to be the easiest thing ever. Underdog Fantasy is our sponsor for the channel. So if y'all want to be drafting with us, make sure you go and you create an account at Underdog Fantasy. With a $10 deposit, they're actually paying you a $25 bonus. You're getting paid to do fantasy football drafts. At the same time, you're getting access to my 2021 rankings, my 2021 draft guide, hundreds of pages of information just for a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy. That's literally, you're getting paid $25. You're getting like a $75, $80 value draft guide. So you're getting like $100 value for depositing $10 and nothing helps the channel more. Literally nothing helps the channel more. Okay, so we're sending this out in the live chat right now. And y'all, let's see how fast this fills. I'd imagine that it's going to be pretty damn fast, even though we just did a $50 league. The last one filled fast. Okay, so yeah, this one's filling relatively quickly. Okay, yeah. So another 101 draft. Am I gonna have to go hack it again? Are we gonna have to go out of the room? Just do a quick hack. 106. I'm not gonna be greedy. We got the 101. We got the 102 in this league already. Okay, so Joseph says send the Patreon link first. My man, like I said, for Patreon, we send the first draft of the night every single night as a link over there on Patreon, and then all the other drafts are sent out as a link on YouTube. And we just passed a massive number of subscribers over there on the channel. We are about to pass 28.8 thousand. Thank you, my dudes, for everybody going down there, subscribing to the channel. I hope y'all are enjoying the stream. We are doing this every single night until the season starts. So make sure you go hit that sub button so you can come out to these streams. Okay, so now let's figure out where we're going to be going at the 106. The 106 is kind of in a dead man's range where, I mean, if we were playing in a regular league, like if you're playing on Underdog and you're not going to be in one of these flock leagues, at the 106, you can consistently draft Davante Adams, which in my opinion is one of the craziest things ever. But here, obviously, in a flock league, I mean, we're just a little bit higher than Davante Adams, and we're having to draft next to JN. This is not going to be a fun draft. Maybe at the beginning of the offseason, drafting next to JN would have been a fun thing because he would have made some crazy picks. But I think JN has gotten so much better at these drafts, so this is not going to be fun. He goes Henry. So I think we just go Ezekiel. We're turning out to have a lot of Ezekiel Elliott teams, though. I'm thinking here a second. Maybe we go Kelsey. Because it's not like I'm in love with Zeke in this range. We're just going to take Ezekiel Elliott. It just allows us to do so much so much with the wide receiver position later on. Spencer says, Mason, who would you prefer in a standard scoring league? Taylor, Mixon, or Najee Harris? I think there I actually probably prefer Jonathan Taylor slightly. Okay, so Bo says, hey, Mason, if Taysom Hill starts, should I still draft Kamara at 4? No, you should not draft Kamara at 4 if Taysom Hill starts. If Taysom Hill is announced the starter for New Orleans, we are going to have to make another update with our rankings. We are going to have to draft we're going to have to push Alvin Kamara down 100%. Okay, so Kelsey falls to the 110. I was considering drafting Kelsey at the 106. I think the edge that Kelsey gives you in a format like this is going to be massive. I think that's a great pick at the 110. I'd be ecstatic if Kelsey ended up falling to me there. Now, in a regular league where you have access to the waiver wire, where you have to start possibly an extra flex spot, there we most likely go with the wide receiver instead or a running back. But in a league like this, he's just going to give you an edge in that you only have to draft 2 tight ends. Nick says, Mason, your dog has to pee. No, she does not have to pee. My dudes, I have a 100-pound dog. That dog literally can go 13 hours without peeing, and she went pee 3 hours ago. That dog does not have to pee. Monzetta says, Mason, what would your advice be for someone doing their first ever Dynasty startup? My advice would be go search the Dynasty Football Flock on YouTube. There you're going to find a million videos that will help you out with your Dynasty drafts. Okay. So you have Ridley, Hopkins going off the 203, 204. I would have loved to have either one of them falling. Last night, we actually had a draft where we started Ezekiel Elliott and DeAndre Hopkins, which of course is intriguing. Okay, so guys, like I said, y'all can go through and y'all can make fun of me in the chat over and over and over again. But we're going to have to start muting people who are continuing with the jokes that I hit the dog, because that's not going to be tolerated. Those jokes may be funny at first, but you're going to have to start getting muted if that continues to happen. Just a fair warning right now. Okay, so we're going to get a Jonathan Taylor selection going here. So Jonathan Taylor, literally, this is the exact pick he falls for me in my rankings. We literally dropped Jonathan Taylor down. After the Carson Wentz injury, we dropped him to the 201. After the injury to Quentin Nelson, we dropped him to the 207. So we're going to start this draft off with Ezekiel Elliott and Jonathan Taylor. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes to the 208. Now, in a format where you're actually having full PPR instead of half PPR, I think it's close enough where I prefer Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor. A big thing about Underdog here is actually this is a half PPR league instead of a full PPR. So the difference that you're going to get in targets for a Clyde Edwards-Helaire and a Jonathan Taylor is going to be a little bit smaller, because if we go through and we go, okay, if we expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to possibly catch an extra 30 balls compared to Jonathan Taylor, in a full PP 15 points difference, that's going to be multiple touchdowns. Or in a half PPR format, that's going to be a 30-point difference. That's going to be like 5 touchdowns. In a half PPR format, it's only going to be the difference of 2. So I think there we are actually going to be going with a Jonathan Taylor. Okay, for a second, I thought we were going to have a problem with the stream. Zachary says, bye chat, got to try and fix my sleeping schedule. I mean, I am envious of you. I wish that was our situation. I wish we could go through and fix our sleeping schedule. Okay, so George Kittle at the 301. Now let's go through. Let's see who we are going to be looking at with this next pick. So obviously we're trying to get some wide receivers to fall to us. If a Swift falls, the thing is we may end up having to take him. Okay, so let me know if the stream is lagging, my dudes. Let me know if the stream is lagging. Okay, Duel says, why does the guy take Justin Jefferson? Guys, Jefferson's going to be completely fine. Do not worry about the Justin Jefferson injury. Let me know if the stream's lagging for y'all, because I'm getting like a notification pop up on YouTube. So DeAndre Swift goes, so we don't have to take Swift. We're going to go back-to-back drafts here, where we are taking Robert Woods in the 3rd round. Y'all know how excited I am about Robert Woods. And I think when we go RB to start, really, we're going to be pushing it if we try to continue to hammer in the running back position, where, yeah, sure, J.K. Dobbins is good value. But, I mean, can never go wrong with taking a Robert Woods there. Jack Wallace out in the live chat. My man, I am happy to have you out here. Hope all is going well, saying Odell Beckham Jr. is the clear choice, Mason. Yes, hey, if I saw your message beforehand, I would have given you that shout out. I would have gone with Odell at the 306 just for you, my man. I would have done it. I would have done it. Okay, thank you for everybody clarifying that there's no lag. But thank you, Jack, for coming out, my man. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Grant says, bro, you look so exhausted. Take a day for yourself soon. Hey, Grant, listen up and listen closely, okay? You listen to me. I am live streaming every single night until we get to the season. Every single night, my dude. A, I'm having so much fun doing this. B, we have that goal of 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. We are hitting that goal. I'm doing everything that we can to hit that goal. And then we're doing a 24-hour live stream. And then we're flying people out to Tampa. And then we're going to that Bucs game. We're doing a Florida meetup. I mean, I am already dreaming about going through and being able to do that. And C, I want to give you all the opportunity to play on Underdog Fantasy with me. D, I want to get you all the opportunity to sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, get our draft guide, get our rankings. And E, I want y'all to get the opportunity to sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. And on a $10 deposit, get a $25 bonus added onto your account. So get out of here with telling me to take a day off. There will be no days off taken at the Fantasy Flock headquarters anytime soon. My life is a day off. My man, you're telling me to take a day off from drafting fantasy teams. That's not going to happen, my man. It's not going to happen. Robert says, is there going to be another $50 draft tonight? I said the goal for the stream was 1,100 likes on the live stream, which seems kind of aggressive. What would be a realistic goal for us to change it to where instead of 1,100 likes for another draft after this, what about, let me know a realistic goal for y'all that y'all think we should go for to hit another one. We're at 778 right now for us to go with another draft after this one. And also we just hit 28.8 thousand subscribers. Thank you, my dudes, for everybody going down there subscribing to the channel. Okay, so now I think we're probably going to go back-to-back receiver here, unless I'm mistaken. Chadwick's, y'all are saying 800, 850. Guys, are you kidding me? We're going to hit 800, 850 by the end of this round. There's no way. I asked y'all for a realistic number. I was thinking like 1050. Ted says, damn, Mason, you're in Tampa. I'm in Fort Myers. My man, you better be coming out to the Florida Flock meetup. You better be coming out to the Florida Flock meetup. Not going to be for a while. It's going to be very fun if we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog Fantasy because we'll be able to do so many fun things with it. But you better be coming out. Okay. So I think I'm just thinking this is a $50 draft, so there's a lot on the line here. Okay, we almost autoed, but we're gonna go Miles Sanders. We're gonna go Sanders. I'm making Sanders one of my highest drafted players. We're drafting Sanders at the 407. Okay. And we're about to pass 800 likes in the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. But let me know what y'all think there. I'm just thinking that the running backs that we're going to have available to us in the 5th, 6th round are going to be disgusting compared to Miles Sanders. And I think the receivers in that range may be a little closer to T. Higgins. And a big thing is I like coming through with these drafts and getting four top running backs and then being able to punt the rest of the running back position and just go receiver. I'm really liking that idea. JN says he hates us for going with Miles Sanders. My man, I just think that I know Darrell Henderson is ahead of him in ADP. I definitely prefer Sanders over Henderson. I will say that if we get to the start of the year, if we get to like week 3 of the preseason and the Rams haven't traded or signed anybody, then of course I'm way moving up Darrell Henderson way above Miles Sanders in our rankings. But I'm operating under the assumption right now that they're bringing someone in. So I think that's how we need to be drafting. So that's why I'm taking Sanders over Henderson. And we're going to have Henderson, we're going to have Jacobs, we're going to have Travis Etienne all off the board before we get back to the middle of the 5th round. I think we can find a wide receiver that we like here. Icarus says, dang, that sucks. The app doesn't allow residents of Washington. What a shame. Yes, sir, I'm very sorry, but For whatever reason, Washington doesn't allow like anything like that. I didn't know this at all until when we signed with Underdog Fantasy. And then I had a bunch of people from Washington going, I can't play on any of the other sites in Washington. Can I play on Underdog? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course you can play on Underdog. Why wouldn't you be able to play on Underdog? And all of a sudden we looked it up and I'm like, oh, I guess you can't play in Washington. And it was also like in Montana, you can't play either, or Nevada, because Nevada, you can't play on anything because the casinos really fight against any legislation that's going to change the power that they have. So yeah, the casinos are really putting their thumbprint on it. Okay, so Josh Allen at the 503. Leroy says, who could the Rams bring in that scares you? Melvin Gordon would be a really good example of someone that they could trade for and kind of take away from Darrell Henderson. Okay, so the 506. Honestly, we can kind of go anywhere. Y'all know I'm not going to go Kyle Pitts. Okay, so let's see where Jay decides to go. He has Henry, CEH, A-Rob, T. Higgins. So he goes Claypool. We are probably going to go Claypool. Because we had Jack Wallace popping in the stream earlier, a massive fan of the Cleveland Browns, I think that we dedicate a pick to him. My man, don't know if you're still in the live stream, but we will be going Odell Beckham Jr. here in the middle of the 5th round. Now, with Odell, he's a receiver that I'm not a big fan of if we're talking about a league where you have to submit your starting lineup each and every week. There you're looking at him going, okay, well, it's going to be very hard to know when to start him. But in a best ball format, you could see Odell Beckham Jr. with those random 40-point spike weeks. So if we were looking at the 2v2 that we could have had here, I think we actually do prefer Miles Sanders and Odell Beckham Jr. versus T. Higgins and Myles Gaskin. There's just a massive fall off from literally round 4 to round 5. This is where the fall off is. And that's why you see the elite quarterbacks go here as well. Noam says, how much? David says, how to add the promo code on Underdog. So you'll see a Underdog section at the same time. If you go through make sure you're going through the link in the live chat. That should also, I'm just telling you to add promo code FLOCK. If you're going through the link in the live chat, it should cover you, but I'm just more so telling you to double check. And yeah, it will be, I don't necessarily remember, my man. It will definitely show up a box. We've had a ton of people sign up. Okay. Jerry Judy at the 512, TJ Hawkinson at the 601. I would have really liked to see TJ Hawkinson fall to us at the 67th pick overall. Okay, so Javonte Williams at the 602. It is intriguing to see Javonte fall this far. I mean, yes, you have to be concerned about the overall offense. But the more I think about it, the more I think it may be smarter to be just consistently drafting Javonte Williams at the beginning of the 6th. Like maybe passing on a Travis Etienne where we've been drafting him at the end of the 4th. And if we're going to make a bet on one of those rookie running backs to get Javonte at the beginning of the 6th. Derek says, what promo code? Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, my man. Jack Wall says, let's go. Guaranteed 24 points per game. My man, he better come through with 24 points per game. This is a $50 live draft right here. Okay, so at the 607. They're like 4 players I'm looking at. We're fine with 1 of 4 guys. This is like this is almost identical to a team we drafted earlier tonight. Okay, freaking Canspa. This is Mike over here. He is a grinder with these drafts. He's out here in the drafts all the time, especially when we do a $50 or $100 league. Here, let's see where he decides to go. He went with the Dak Prescott. Okay, that sucks. I kind of wanted Prescott. Okay, so is the Golladay injury concerning enough for us to... Let's just take Golladay here. I've been really fading him, but he's getting to a point where I think if we're taking him, it's either Golladay or Deebo Samuel. We'll just take Kenny Golladay. He doesn't match up with any of the bye weeks we have. He gives us another potential stack later on in the draft that we could go after with a Daniel Jones. So yeah, we are going to go with Kenny Golladay there at the 607. Derek says, Flock, I've been here a week straight, probably 3 hours a day average. I got the code at Football Friday. I got this. My man, thank you so much for all of the support coming out here. 3 hours a night. That is massive, my man. That is crazy. Okay. So after we take Golladay, you have Trey Sermon, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton all going off the board. I really wanted Dak Prescott to fall because our plan was we were going to try to go Dak Prescott at the 607. That would have kind of made us go in with that Dallas Cowboys offense. We would capture every single touchdown with both Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. And we would have also been looking to draft a Michael Gallup following in the 7th round. Now, we actually almost pulled that off in a draft earlier tonight, but I believe Michael Gallup went 2 picks before we were on the clock in the 7th, so we weren't able to accomplish it, but possibly we could have this time. Mike says Golladay value is too good to pass on. Yeah, I think it is, as well as it's a best ball league. So with Golladay, he has an incredibly high average depth of target. That's going to lead to slightly more volatile weeks. So I think we are fine with Golladay at the 607. And so far, this team, if anybody is just now joining the live stream, we have Ezekiel Elliott, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders at running back. At receiver, we have Robert Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., and Kenny Golladay. So let me know what you are thinking of the board. I'll leave it here just for a second. But Matt says, Mason, I'm having an argument with my buddy. Who is more talented, Peyton or Tom Brady? Matt, my man, thank you so much for coming out and supporting the channel. And I will be completely honest here. If you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have said Peyton Manning. I'm going to be completely honest. If you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have said Peyton Manning. But at this point, I think it's just simply too hard to look at what Tom Brady has done and say anybody is more talented. Yeah, so I think at this point, you have to say Tom Brady. He's done it just like Manning with 2 different teams. The only difference is he's done it for significantly longer, and at the same time, he's had a lot more success. Tom Brady has never had a losing season in the NFL. And I know a lot of that's driven by situation, but over such a large sample with one thing being consistent, obviously that's one of the most impressive things ever. Okay. So at the 706, Jan, I swear to God, Jan, who does he have so far? Okay. He's doing it. He goes Michael Carter. Thank God he goes Michael Carter. We get our guy in DJ Chark falling to us. Oh, that is a perfect outcome. I really thought that JN was going to end up going with DJ Chark there. I really thought he was going to. Let's switch this over to being on the left side. JN said, I really wanted to snipe you. Yeah, my man, let me know your thought. I guess you have to go Carter there. What other running backs did you start with? I guess you didn't even have to go Carter there. Honestly, I'm not a massive fan of Michael Carter in that range. I think we probably would have. Okay, so we have Mike coming out and getting both Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson in this draft. Did Wilson complete a stack? Did he? Yeah, so he has Metcalf. I had something similar fall to us in one of the previous drafts tonight where we actually took Dak in the 6th, and we had the opportunity, I think, to take Wilson, I think in the 8th or something. We had an opportunity to take one of those quarterbacks. Maybe it was a Wilson or a Herbert in the 8th. And I thought that once we took Dak in the 6th, it was going to be a little too rich for us to get our second quarterback that early. So it is interesting to see him come out and be willing to draft him at the 6th, 7th turn. No Chill Bill coming out with another donation. Thank you, my man. Says, Mason, your work ethic puts first-year bankers on Wall Street to shame. I will definitely have to get in an underdog draft and get smoked soon. My man, thank you so much for coming out to the stream. And yeah, I wanted you to get in. I shot you a DM over there on Patreon before we uploaded that link saying, hey, just a heads up, because I know you kept on asking for that link and we're having a hard time finding it. Yeah, so I wanted you to get in. I tried to give you that heads up, but just to be completely transparent with how we are going through and filling all these drafts, guys. So no Chill Bill. What we do is that first link you're going to find on Patreon, and we'll upload that on Patreon, and that probably gets filled within 30 seconds of it being uploaded, maybe 40 seconds, something in that range, where it's essentially how many people can get the notification, open up their phone, click on the post, click join draft. And then from there, we'll do like 4 or 5 drafts on YouTube with the chat, where we'll send out the link in the general chat. And now those get filled like that. If it's a $50 or $100 league, it's a little slower, but if it's a $5 league, literally you may press the button as soon as it's sent out in the live chat and still not get in. They feel crazy, crazy, crazy fast. Okay, so now we have Rodgers, Tom Brady. We have yet to draft a quarterback on this team, so we definitely need to be looking at QBs sometime soon. So our construction here is we have 3 running backs, 4 receivers. We have Zeke, Taylor, Sanders. At receiver, we have Woods, Odell, Kenny Golladay, and DJ Chark. So let's see what we are going to get at the 807. No Chill Bill says, wait, I'm not on Patreon. Is someone impersonating me? Not even lying. I will get on Patreon, but someone is taking my moniker and they need to be stopped. I am almost a million. I don't know if you're messing with me. Let me pull up my Patreon messages. I'll pull up my Patreon messages right now, my man, and show you. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to share the screen. But let me pull up my Patreon messages. Okay, so now that we're on the clock, there's nobody that I really love in this range. I'm not drafting a Damian Harris on this team. I'm just not doing it. I think I'd prefer Hardman and Jarvis. What buy? Yeah, they have a weird buy, so we're not gonna have to worry about the Hardman buy stacking on, and Jarvis stacks up with Odell. Oh, I thought that we were picking on the turn. I thought we were on the turn. Hey, we're blaming it on this being the 4th draft of the night. Okay, this is the 4th draft of the night. Cut me some slack here. I thought we were back in the same situation that we were in the last draft. My bad, my man. But let me go through. Let me look at the No Chill Bill that at least I thought we were talking to on Patreon. Maybe, man, I've been live for a very, very long time. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That'd be very weird if there was a No Chill Bill on Patreon and a No Chill Bill in the YouTube chat that were 2 different people. My man, I'm thinking the chances of that happening are like a 0% chance. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Bill Russell is the person on Patreon. Bill Russell. I don't know how we got that confused. I am sorry, my man. Derek says, hey, do you ever do cheaper drafts? I use the code on Underdog, but I don't have money like that to spend on drafts. Yes, sir. We do $5 drafts like a lot of the times. I mean, like half the drafts we do are $5 drafts. The main reason I do them is because I think the best thing that you can do on Underdog is come through and just deposit that $10, get your $25 bonus in, and then do those cheap drafts, do the $3, do the $5 drafts, because you want to use it as practice to go through and become a better drafter for whenever you have your real league coming around. So yeah, we're going to get a ton of $5 drafts going, my man. Don't worry. Okay, so now let's go through. So Rojo, Hollywood Brown going at the 9. Dallas Goddard at the 903. I really don't like my... Actually, I think we're fine with Mecole Hardman at the 807. It's just in a weird spot because I thought that I would have maybe considered going with someone else if we didn't think we had back-to-back picks. Okay, so JN decides to go Tyler Higbee. So we are going to go Jarvis Landry here. This is what we actually tried to do. We tried to go back-to-back Mecole Hardman and Jarvis Landry in the with our last pick before realizing that we weren't drafting at the 101 anymore. We were drafting at the 106. So yeah, I think that we're constructing this team where we're going to be reaching on some quarterbacks and some tight ends very, very soon. Okay, so Hartnell says Mixon or Gibson in a PPR league. I actually have my 2021 rankings available for anybody who uses promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And what's better than that is we also have those players ranked alongside in a video that uploaded, I believe, yesterday. So just go to yesterday's video and you can go through and you can see us talk in depth about our rankings there. Okay, so Elijah Moore at the 909, Noah Fant at the 908, Tony Pollard at the 907. Jack says the Cleveland stack is almost complete. Yes, sir, Jack. This is a draft for you, my man. This is a draft for Jack Wallace. Let's see if we can pull it off. We'll see if we can pull it off. So Russell Gage at the 911, Elijah Moore at the 909. Jack, let me know in the chat right now, where did you end up going to school, my man? What college did you end up deciding to go to? Did you end up going to Texas A&M University and just disappointed me? Hopefully not. Swizz World says, got to get a Baker Mayfield later. Yes, sir. You know we're going to be looking for a Baker Mayfield, but the problem is Obviously, we're live streaming. Obviously, people are wanting to come out here and snipe us. So I'm not getting my hopes up. We're most likely not going to get it. Even though in a regular underdog draft, I think we would probably have a higher shot at doing it. Alpha says, watching while on vacation way up in North Wisconsin. Don't have good reception. Just saying hi and hitting that like button. My man, thank you so much for coming out. I've not seen that name in the chat for a very long time, I believe, since the 2020 season. Maybe I am wrong, but yeah, thank you. Okay, so now let's switch this over. Let's look at where we're going to be drafting. So honestly, we can still go any direction we want. I mean, we probably prefer going QB tight end, considering we don't have any. Yeah, we're going to have our option of Ryan Tannehill, Trey Lance, Matthew Stafford here. So I think it's going to be really easy. Okay, so we drafted Woods in the third. All these quarterbacks are directly next to each other in ADP. So we're just going to go with the Matthew Stafford. This is what we're talking about. You don't go and you don't reach for stacks, but all these quarterbacks are within 3 picks of each other in ADP. So they're essentially all in the same exact tier. And when we have one of their receivers in a Robert Woods, I think it's going to be an easy selection. And also, y'all know how much I like Matthew Stafford for this year. Joseph coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Okay, so Ryan Tannehill at the 10:08. So yeah, you're going to see these quarterbacks going. So Jayen, that was his first quarterback off the board. I should have realized that we were drafting next to Jayen, and we know that Jayen does like to wait on QB. Alpha says, love the show, been watching, but have been silent until now. No, my man, thank you. I know that the majority of people that are watching the show, I mean, we got up to 600 live viewers tonight. The majority of those people are not typing the chat. I know that's just completely fine, my man. Do not worry about that whatsoever. And we maybe are going to hit 29,000. We're going to hit 29,000 subscribers, not tonight, but tomorrow. So thank you everybody who's recently joined the flock. We are skyrocketing right now. We actually have our video coming out tomorrow where we round out and talk about our last of our top 24 running back rankings. Of course, if you want our entire list of rankings, we have a very special deal with Underdog Fantasy currently. Use promo code FLOCK, get a $25 bonus on a $10 deposit, get our 2021 rankings, get our 2021 draft guide. Just need to shoot me a DM on either Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Discord, literally wherever, saying, hey Mason, listen here, you bum. I used your promo code. Here's my email that I did so with, so you can confirm. Please give me that draft guide. You don't even have to say please, and I'll say yes sir, and I'll give that to you ASAP. Dom Koss says, is Underdog allowed in New York? My man, you have asked this question about 5 times in the past week to the point I don't know if you're trolling. Underdog is literally from New York. 1 million people in the live chat, I believe, have told you that they are drafting Underdog in New York. Yes, it is. Jonathan says, Mason, how do you talk for hours and not sip some water, my guy? My man, what are you talking about? I've been sipping water this entire time. Okay, so now maybe we get another quarterback falling to us here. Actually, there's no way, because Party Till She's Hot is yet to draft a QB, so there's no way he's making one of those guys in that tier fall past the 12th round. JN only has 1. BNAS has 1. What's interesting is this side of the draft is kind of the side that soaked up the elite quarterbacks as well as just has quarterbacks in general, because this side of the board doesn't. So we need to take note of that and going, okay, maybe we can pass on a quarterback that we even want here in the 11th round, but we need to make sure that if that guy's still available in the 12th, that we get him, because they're most likely going to be going off the board here. Okay, so let's pull this up. We can really go I don't want to turn off any position, because we can still go running back if we think a running back's the value. We only have 3 guys. And honestly, we may go 5 running backs on this build. Okay, so now let's go through, see what we're going to be looking at. Tight end. I don't know if we can reach on a Gesicki here. Obviously, Gesicki needs to slide up slightly, given the fact that you do have that injury to Hunter Long, where if Hunter Long is not going to be seeing any snaps whatsoever, I mean, you do have to get a little more excited about him. Okay, so here BNAST goes with a Trey Lance. Let's see where JN is going to decide to go. He has a very balanced start so far. So he goes Emmanuel Sanders. So now we get our stack here with DJ Chark and Trevor Lawrence. But I am unsure if when we start this way, if we can draft a 3rd quarterback, to be honest. It's something we're going to have to think about it with how the value falls. I think we may be out on quarterback from now on, though. We may be out. I'm not sure. I'm not for sure, though. Jan says he got sniped with Trey Lance there. Oh, yeah. Trey Lance at the 1104 is fantastic value. Fantastic value. Latavius Murray at the 1107. So let's go through and guys, please remember, if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy tonight, make sure you shoot me that DM telling me to send you that draft guide. All the information is down there in the description of the video. I want to make sure I'm going to be sending those out. I go and I send them out pretty much every hour, to be completely honest. Yeah, make sure you shoot me that DM. So Justin Fields goes at the 1108. That's a lot closer to a Trevor Lawrence and a Trey Lance than you usually have him going. So that's intriguing. Leonard Fournette goes at the 1110. Jayan says, rip my wide receiver buys. Let's go through and let's check out Jayan's team with his wide receiver buys. It's going to be intriguing. Okay, so he has... Oh, you're not that bad, my man. You have 3 wide receivers on a week 10, 2 wide receivers on a week 7. It's not the end of the world. It's not like whenever we drafted we drafted 4 running backs within the first 5 rounds the other night. And those guys that we drafted, they were all on a week. They were all on a week 7 bye. Every single one. It was the craziest thing ever. Eula says, one more draft, my man. I do not think that we are hitting our goal. Our goal that we set was first 1,100, then we moved it down to 1,050. I don't think we're hitting our goal of likes to do one more draft. I think it's probably going to be the last one. Philip says, do you play in the FFPC? Honestly, no. I don't like the platform at all. I definitely prefer playing in Underdog. Dom says, how many drafts have you done this year? We are closing in on 50, my man. Okay, so let's switch this over. And that's just on Underdog Fantasy. That's just on Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so now we still need a tight end. So Devo Station, and here, both of these teams need a tight end as well. So Adam Troutman's probably off the board by the time we're up again. So I don't think we can even really pencil ourselves in for Adam Troutman. I don't want to be going quarterback. Now, yeah, Troutman's already off. Okay, so Gerald Everett kind of looks like a reach. Okay, so back-to-back tight ends. I'm not going to be reaching for an Ingram here. There are enough tight ends later on in the draft that I'm fine with getting. I think we get a Traquan Smith as the wide receiver 1 in New Orleans for the time being. So that's going to be our 7th wide receiver on this build, where we have Robert Woods, Odell, Kenny Golladay, DJ Chark, Mecole Hardman, Jarvis Landry, and Traquan Smith. It's not a sexy room, but a room that should score a decent amount of points with how many snaps and targets they're going to get this year. Noah says, how do you feel about Yahoo? Man, if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, Yahoo? Oh, yeah. Yahoo's where it's at. That's where I used to play fantasy football 10 years ago. But it's 2021, my man. Underdog is literally better in every way imaginable. Okay, so Nelson Aguilar, Cole Beasley, Devin Singletary. The thing is, please help me with this. Do y'all think we should be going with the 3rd quarterback after we take Stafford, Lawrence? Because the thing is, we know both QBs are starting all 16 weeks. I think both of them have relatively high floors and ceilings. So if we were going to draft a 3rd quarterback, like a Ben Roethlisberger at the end of the draft, does he really see the starting lineup that often? Dwayne says, is punting tight end a legitimate strategy in Underdog format if you don't get the top guy? I'm not necessarily punting tight end on purpose here, man. We can go through, we can look at this draft board from the very top again. I mean, if I'm going through, we're going pick by pick. At the 106, I actually almost considered going Kelsey at the 106. We did sit there in a second. We actually said that out loud just because I've been drafting Zeke a lot lately because we've been getting a lot of 106s, 107s. Then Taylor, I'm not taking Waller over Taylor. Woods, obviously there's no tight ends in that range to consider. Sanders, not taking Kyle Pitts. Odell, we could have potentially considered TJ Hawkinson, but I've been drafting Hawkinson in the early 6th a lot. Kenny Golladay, we're not taking any of the wide receivers after this range. Chark, no. Mecole Hardman, maybe we could take Dallas Goddard over Mecole Hardman. That's one pick that we can switch. But outside of that, there's not a ton that we're looking at that we could have changed. Evan Ingram goes 1 pick before us. So now we have to take Jonnu Smith. We have no option, but we have to take Jonnu Smith as our first tight end, as the tight end. in ADP is the tight end 17 off the board. I don't know where he went in this draft. Okay, so let's go through. I would have much preferred having an Evan Ingram. I think that JN makes a fantastic pick there with Ingram with the amount of targets that he should see in New York this year. Eric says, let me know what you think of my draft at the 104. Yes, sir. Let's go through. Let's look at the 104. So Adams, A.J. Brown. Okay, this is interesting. I think that when you take Adams and you have the potential to take a Najee Harris in the late second, while I'm not a big fan of Najee Harris, I think it may make sense to go Harris because I'm viewing a bigger gap between Najee Harris and the next running back that you take in DeAndre Swift than I would be viewing in an A.J. Brown and an Allen Robinson. So I think one thing we want to change, and I kind of learned this lesson the hard way with a couple of Devontae Adams teams that we drafted about 4 days ago. But I think when you have the opportunity to take Harris in the second when you start Adams, that's something we want to be doing right here. Then in the fourth, I'm fine with Jamar Chase, best wide receiver available. Travis Etienne, love the value in the fifth. Deebo Samuel, Michael Gallup, fine wide receiver value. Get Raheem Mostert here. Mostert fits this team very nice in that you're looking at Travis Etienne as an option that's most likely going to take over near the end of the season. So what you're looking for is some early year production at the running back position, which you get with Mostert. You have the Burrow stack with Jamar Chase. Logan Thomas at tight end, Trey Lance with Deebo Samuel, and Trey Lance was a massive value there. I mean, that was further than his ADP. Devin Singletary, I've been drafting Singletary a lot. Jacoby Myers, I love this team. So your tight end is Logan Thomas. So this is going to be another team that has to kind of get through. You're going to have to get 3 tight ends. I wish that wasn't the case. I'd rather say just only draft 2. That way we can try to get another one. But yeah, I think get 3 tight ends. I'm going to be interested. I think when you go Burrow and Lance, I think you don't go. Yeah, I think when you go Burrow, Lance, you don't go 2 QBs. So maybe we should say the same thing about Stafford. Okay. So actually, let's switch this over to get the draft up, figure out who we're going to be going with. So we can go anywhere, but we're probably going to want to go with the tight end. Okay. Yeah, we're going to want to go with the tight end here. It doesn't matter. We'll just take whoever freaking Kinanstra, whatever Mike's name is on here. We'll take whatever he leaves us between Gronk and Anthony Ferksker if he even decides to go with the tight end. So he goes Christian Kirk. Yeah, wide receiver. I think we're set at wide receiver where you don't really even need to consider the position. Now between Gronk and Ferksker, I probably prefer Anthony Ferksker, to be honest. I've drafted him a lot more than Rob Gronkowski. The problem with Gronk is we've seen him have the ceiling that Ferksker literally doesn't have access to. So if we're playing in a format where you submit your starting lineup and you have access to the waiver wire and we're just looking for a ceiling play, we'd probably go with Gronk. But in a format like this, probably going to go with someone that we know is going to run more routes. Sir Dilly says, what do you think about my draft, Mason? I feel like I messed up. Let me go through. Let me try to figure out where your draft is. Okay, Sir Dilly is at the 12 spot. Okay, so let's go through. You have Eckler, Antonio Gibson at the 1-2 turn. I really don't like taking Mahomes in the third here. I've said this before, and I know Mahomes is going after his ADP in this spot. And I've drafted Mahomes a decent amount in these leagues, especially at the beginning of the 4th round. But we're doing that on teams where we ended up taking a Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, and you're getting that stack in. I'm fine drafting the elite quarterbacks near their ADP, but as long as we're getting the stacks. So when you go with the Mahomes, a Chris Carson, you put yourself in a very difficult spot at receiver, which I'm sure you find out later on. In another, I really don't like this because when you do take Mahomes, a big value thing with Mahomes is you're drafting him essentially going, okay, well, I'm not going to draft another quarterback until we get Derek Carr at the end. And then you go through and you get a Justin Herbert in the 7th. I really hate the Herbert pick. I think that you really wanted to go with a receiver in this range. Yeah, so, my man, to be completely honest, I don't like this draft. I don't like the selection of Mahomes. I think you should have gone receiver here. I like Hawkinson in the 5th. I love Hawkinson in the 5th. I don't like the selection of Herbert. I think this should have also been a receiver. Gesicki, fine. But yeah, you see how you're just trying to have to catch up on wide receiver later on here? Which, yeah, and also, when you draft, I will let you know for the future rounds, you can't be drafting another tight end when you invest into Hawkinson and Gesicki. So maybe you're going to figure out why. Maybe I'm wrong. maybe you can figure out wide receiver just because you're going to be able to draft 10 of them on this team because you're only drafting 2 QBs and 2 tight ends. Yeah, so maybe you'll be able to draft 9 or 10 wide receivers and figure out the situation. Okay, so let's go Zach Wilson. Do we? We can't take both New England tight ends, can we? We can't. Trying to figure out if we're drafting 8 wide receivers on this league. We're going to go with a Brashad Perriman here. We'll get another tight end later in the draft. We're going to Brashad Perriman. Running back. Okay, let me do some quick math. How many rounds we have left? We have 3. We need another tight end. Okay, we need another tight end. We need another running back. And I don't know if we go with a 5th running back or a 3rd quarterback. We need to figure that out. Peter says, Mason, have you drafted from the 1 position yet? Yes, sir. I drafted from the 1 position earlier tonight. Noah says, just finished a Jungle Cruise, $30 to make the family happy. My man, you're gonna have to explain to me what that is. What is a Jungle Cruise? I would assume, based on my understanding of a cruise, that it wouldn't. Oh, Jungle Cruise. It's a movie. Okay, it's a movie. I thought it was like a cruise. I thought it was literally like a cruise ship. I was so confused. Clearly, you can tell that literally the only thing that I know is fantasy football. Okay, but my man, let me know how the movie was. And you're saying, so in Dynasty, Barkley or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a future first, and Rondell Moore, what do you like? Definitely Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the future first. You have to go with CEH in the future first. Noah, let me know how the movie was. Because usually the Rock movies, I just assume they're going to be like money grabs, and I didn't really, I'm never going to like them. But I actually, with my younger sister, watched the remake of Jumanji like a couple months ago. It was actually really funny. Like the remake of Jumanji, I really liked. Okay, so Mike says, what do you think about number 1's team? Some Panda. Me and Panda are drafting it together. Okay, let's go through and let's check out the number 1 team. We got a co-managed team in this league. Okay, so CMC, Jefferson, Kittle, Jacobs, Devontae Smith, Laviska Shenault, Jalen Hurts to get the stack with Devontae, Rojo, James Conner get guaranteed touches. I think I think you're done at running back after that. I'll get to the rest of that team. I'm just trying to figure it out from okay, so now the thing is we need a running back regardless. So I think we're going RB here. Maybe we use this as a draft to kind of hedge against us. No, we can't. We can't do that. We can't do that. I think we just need someone that's going to be seeing the field. Yeah, running back, we need someone that's going to be seeing the field. I think we just get James White. No, he has the same bias too of our other running backs. I think we just go with a similar thought process. And let's just get another Damian Williams team. I mean, he doesn't match up on the other buys. I'm not a big fan of Damian Williams whatsoever. Noah says, it wasn't bad. I'd wait until it's free, though. Is it just not on? He said it was a typical Disney movie. Jumanji remake was better. Is it just not on Disney Plus? I'd assume that it was just on Disney Plus. Is Disney Plus now charging for stuff? Maybe I could be wrong. And also, man, I'm not going to be able to watch a movie until after the football season, to be honest. I'm literally not going to be able to watch a movie until then anyway. Okay, Matt says, Mason, can you rank the Bengals 3 wide receivers based off of production? I feel like people are sleeping on Tyler Boyd. Well, Tyler Boyd's definitely after the top 2. I'll tell you that. I mean, I have T. Higgins at 1. Then we have Jamar Chase at 2 and Tyler Boyd at 3. Honestly, it's pretty close. I mean, it's a pretty clear-cut call for me as well to have Tyler Boyd at 3. I'm not going to have to think about that often. I mean, that much. Noah says, it's Disney Plus, but it required Premier access. Laughing my ass off. Oh, my gosh. So Disney's really out here to make some money now. They're giving you, that's like me on Patreon going, hey, sign up for the Patreon. And then if you, and then pay me another $20 and then I'll go through and I'll give you my rankings. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay. So now let's look back at this team that we were covering. I just want to see it from okay, so here I'll say getting Giovanni Bernard as your running back 5. I really don't like doing that. I think that we probably would prefer spending that roster spot on another wide receiver. Because when you have a CMC team and you have Jacobs, then Rojo, you have such a high floor of touches, and you also have the elite ceiling as well. I mean, you get a James Conner in there. I don't necessarily know how often you're actually going to have Giovanni Bernard making your lineup compared to what a receiver would. So now do we go with, okay, we need a tight end as well. I forgot that we needed a tight end. Okay, tight ends, they're going to be the same in the last round. I think we actually need to go, we're figuring out if we go 3 QBs or 5 running backs here. I think we get a Phillip Lindsay as our 5th running back. I think we're getting a Phillip Lindsay as our 5th running back. That could have been a real, like, literally that could have been, the past 3 rounds for me could have been detrimental. Like, they could have been devastating. I could easily be wrong on this. And it's not even the players that I took. It's more so, where could we have gotten another running back that I would have felt comfortable with where we could have only drafted 4? Like, did I pass up? Maybe we should have no. I'm not going to draft Myles Gaskin at the 506. This draft, I think, would have been so nice to us if we have an ETN falling to us at the 506. I'm not drafting Trey Sermon in the 6th. I'm not drafting James Robinson in the 7th. I'm not drafting Raheem Mostert in the 8th. I'm not drafting. So I don't think we really missed out on any running backs we could have drafted. Maybe what we could have done is gone with an elite quarterback. Maybe if we'd gone with a Russell Wilson in the 7th, we would have been a lot more confident with only rostering 2 QBs. Maybe, what about tight end? Could we have gone with the tight end in a range where we wouldn't have? Yeah, I can't take a TJ Hawkinson over an Odell. Yeah, so I think that honestly we couldn't. I think we were just put in a very difficult spot in this draft. I'm trying to figure out what we could have done differently. Derek Rose says, hey, Mason, new to best ball. What's your ideal number of players at each position? I like to have 8 wide receivers. I like to have 5 running backs, and then that gives you 5 more spots. And then usually I like to have either 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends, or 3 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, depending on the team investment that you made into them. But obviously you have to continue to kind of restructure your team when you go with some more extreme builds. Like if you go running back, then you're only drafting 4 RBs. And you have to make sure that you're staying fluid with the stuff like that. Okay, so now we have to get a tight end. We have to. And god dang, I do not like this draft. This was a $50 draft as well. I think we butchered this draft. This was a very bad one. And I need to sit down after this live stream. I need to figure out what we could do better. Okay, so Dawson Knox goes. So here I think that we actually just end up going with an OJ Howard. Let me see the bye weeks real quick just to make sure they don't line up. We're going to go with an OJ Howard. No limitations in practice. Okay, OJ Howard probably should be going up in drafts a lot. Okay, let's go down to the bottom real quick. Okay, my dudes, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to the live stream. Of course, if you have not signed up for Underdog Fantasy, do so by now. But what I'm going to be sending out in the live chat right now, guys, is I'm going to be sending out our free fantasy football group chat. You do not need a credit card. You do not need an email address. You do not need anything. It's not a scam. Click the link, type your nickname. You're in a group chat with like 4,000 or 5,000 people. So let me send this out, and you're not going to be getting dings on your phone every 5 seconds. You can turn notifications off. You can just go in there. If you have a question, ask it, get it answered, yada, yada, yada. This is where you can also shoot me a DM if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy and want our 2021 draft guide, want our 2021 rankings. Just shoot me a DM. Say, hey, Mason, this is my email, and we'll sort it out from there. Okay. So let me go through. The link that I'm sending out is the free group chat link. We are spamming it out in the chat. And yeah, thank you, my dudes. I really hope y'all enjoy the stream.